consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes!
An awful lot of strikes with it.
No, that was right on that corner. He can spot it. If he's on, he will spot it any place.
Stanton, the National League MVP last year, swung on and drilled to deep right center field. It is high, it is far, it is gone. It is first Yankee at bat. Giancarlo non si può stopparlo. It is a Stantonian home run, a 2-run blaster right center. It is first Yankee at bat, and the Yankees take a 2-0 lead.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Shermans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
Sherman? Forget it, he's rolling.
And it ain't over now.
I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and most vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
Now, as your father told you, my name is Matt Foley, and I am a motivational speaker. Before I begin, I ought to tell you a little about myself so you'll know where I'm coming from. First off, I am 35 years old. I am thrice divorced, and I live in a van down by the river.
Welcome to the Hard Rock and Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap.
Hi out there, this is Andy Parker from UFO, and you're listening to Hard Rock and Sports with Tommy and Jeff.
Hi, this is Gazer Butler, and you're listening to Hard Rock and Sports with Jeff and Tom.
Hey, this is Ken Aronoff. You listen to Hard Rock Sports with Jeff and Tom.
Hey everybody, this is Kasim Sultan, a very, very famous bass player, and you are listening to Hard Rock and Sports with Tommy Florio and Jeff Tolinsky.
Hey, rock fans, Mark Gutscott and Trickster, hanging out with my good buddies, old Jeff and Tom right here. Oh, Hard Rock and Sports, you listen, crank it up.
Hi, this is Vinny Appice, and you're listening to Hard Rock and Sports with Tom and Jeff.
Hey, everybody, this is Ross the Boss, and you're listening to Hard Rock and Sports with Jeff and Tom.
Hey, sports fans, this is Punky Meadows from Angel, and my new solo album, Punky Meadows Fallen Angel. You're listening to Hard Rock Sports Radio Show with Tommy and Jeff.
There you go.
Don't miss it.
Hi, this is Mark Brenner, and you're listening to Jeff and Tom on the Hard Rock and Sports Radio Show.
I can say it right now. I can say, this is Joe Satriani. You are listening to Hard Rock and Sports Radio with Tommy and Jeff. Go Jets.
With the players.
Live direct from hell, Mono.
But hey, enough of my yakking. What do you say? Let's boogie.
And that is my cue to start the show. Welcome to another Thursday edition of the Hard Rock and Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rock and Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 3-hour weekly get-together where we bring you all the biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and, of course, the wide world of sports. And, guys, welcome to Thursday, October the 7th. And thank you for spending some time with us. It's, you know, a couple of weeks ago, it was bright sunlight when I was doing the show to start. And now it is pitch dark out there. It is coming, folks. Winter is upon us. I know it's still warm out. But I got that feeling. And if it's anything chasing me to Florida, it's the cold winters. So pretty soon we'll be live from high atop beautiful scenic Monroe. Nope, it'll be beautiful scenic Florida. Hopefully in the near future. But in the meantime, we are still here in the New York, New Jersey area, and Jeff and I, well, coming to you every Thursday night, doing our thing, bringing you the biggest news topics from around the world of hard rock, heavy metal, and of course sports. And guys, it's an action-packed show. We got a lot to talk about. David Lee Roth is hanging it up. Got about 5 more shows. We'll talk a little bit about Dave and a little bit of a controversial figure in the world of hard rock and metal. David Lee Roth. This guy's done a little bit of everything. Obviously the frontman for Van Halen to start and to end his career. In between, the guy was in EMT in New York City, hosted radio shows, has obviously been, he should have been a talk show host. There was a guy in this world who should have been a talk show host. It's David Lee. But we'll talk a little about that. We got a lot of sports. Obviously, the Yankees win a big game, 162, but lose game 163 in uninspiring fashion and the way that most Yankee fans expected. If other than not losing on a walk-off home run against Aroldis Chapman, you could have called this. The Yankees are just not built for the playoffs. You just can't keep going there and trying to muscle your way through. So we'll get to that. But listen, they made the playoffs. They had a great end of the season. Yeah, they stumbled with the first 2 games against Tampa. But listen, they ran off 7 straight, lost 2, then won a great game to watch. A 1-0 Yankee win in game 162. If you're a baseball fan, that was a good baseball game. Good defense, a lot of great pitching. Unfortunately, game 163 was just not that kind to the New York Yankees. So, hey, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Mets. They fired their manager. They're looking for a new boss. They're looking for a new manager and probably a good piece of a new team. So we got that. We got Jets and Giants both winning. Boy, on the same weekend. We're going to talk a lot of it tonight. I got a new segment for Jeff. Contenders or pretenders, or pretenders and contenders, however he wants to do it. But we'll talk about what teams are pretenders and what teams are contenders at the quarter pole this year in the NFL, that is, of course. We got 3 top 10 teams losing in college last week. So what do we know about college at this point? We're a little less than halfway through the season. I'll tell you what we know. Let's see. We got the Penn State. Oh, it's the 1 year. I just passed the 1 year anniversary, October 6th, of the passing of Eddie Van Halen. So we'll say a few words and we'll remember Eddie and probably put some stuff out there. So if you're out there and you want to participate, jump right in. Let us know. And Bill Ward wants to do something with Black Sabbath. I'll tell you what it is, and we'll see if it's a decent idea or not. But we'll get to all of that and a lot more. I want to take a minute and wish our good friend and Rosebank cousin, Leonard Torricelli, who is having a little bit of a heart procedure tomorrow. Leonard, in his inevitable way, he called me up today, let me know what was going on, and was laughing about it. But there's no laughing matter time the heart's involved. So we, from Jeff and I and everybody here at Hard Rock and Sports, we wish Len nothing but the best. And I promised to update everybody. He's going to update me tomorrow after the procedure. And we hope our good buddy and Rosebank cousin, Leonard, is fine and able to get out there and sing. He's got a big performance in about a week. So out in Long Island, so we hope Leonard is up and about and ready to sing out some tunes. Maybe he'll do Shock Me from Kiss. So again, we'll get the show kicked off right now. We're glad you guys are here with us this week. And of course, thanks to everybody paying attention on Facebook, YouTube, and around the globe. And we've got bigger numbers this week in Israel. Jeff will be happy. We're up, I think, 4 points this week. So good job to all our friends out in Israel. And again, also remember Sunday mornings, 9 a.m., Jeff, me, and John Marhefka, we get together and we break down the day's biggest games, best bets, and everything that goes with it. So make sure you tune into the Sunday Audible this Sunday morning and every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Sunday Audible Facebook page. I also link it to this page, so you'll find us here too. And this week we got a special guest, the one and only Sean McKenna. That's right. Sean McKenna from Bar Stools and Band Talk will join Jeff, John, and myself and help us break down the Giants and the Cowboy game as our first celebrity guest to the show. And, of course, at 10 o'clock, don't forget on Sunday mornings, we have our good friend Rafael Esparza, the head odds maker at mybookie.ag.com, who will come on and give you behind the scenes at all the sports books. So again, big show tonight, big show on Sunday. Make sure you tune in. Lots of sports. It's a beautiful time of the year. Baseball's second season starts. You get in the middle of football. You got basketball and hockey right around the corner, and we got great college football. Hey, if you're a sports fan, here it is. And we even got a lot of music to talk about. So, guys, hang around. I'm going to get Jeff on. Let's kick off the Hard Rock and Sports Show for Thursday, October the 6th, the 7th. And let me get my man, Mr. Jeff Pinky Mac himself. F.A.
1, you're Pinky Mac. 2, everything you announced is on hold.
It's on hold?
Everything is on hold.
Okay.
What is Bill Ward, Black Sabbath? I must know now. I'm walking away from the show.
All right, we can start off with Bill Ward and Black Sabbath. Yeah, Bill Ward has spoken to Ozzy about a Black Sabbath new album. Not necessarily a tour, but a new Black Sabbath album. He's probably not capable of doing any sort of a tour. In fact, that's one of the reasons why it broke up the last time. Was that the guys in Sabbath not only was the contract unacceptable to him, but they wanted him to have a backup drummer or a side drummer playing basically alongside him because he physically couldn't handle it and couldn't admit to it. Now he sees the error of his ways, and he reached out to Ozzy to say, hey, if you can't tour, let's do another Sabbath album. Jeff, and it wasn't rejected. So, Jeff, on your end, are you excited? Are you happy?
Oh, man, yeah, of course I'm excited, man. I can't how could you not be? How could you not be?
Well, here's what I would see out of that. Let's say they did an album, which, listen, it's very possible. They get together, go to the studio, nice and easy, record some tracks. I could see them playing 2 or 3 shows, play a big festival, go out to L.A., play one show, go to New York and play one show. Anything's possible, but regardless, a new album from Sabbath would always be something that any of us metal fans would look forward to.
Of course, man. How could you not?
Yeah. So I thought that was encouraging. He said he reached out to Ozzy, and it was not rejected. It was kind of okay, let's talk, like that kind of thing. So take a look at Blabbermouth, and you can see the full article, and it's a pretty good thing. So yeah, I thought that was a good thing. I thought that was a fun thing. So I figured I'd mention that on the show.
Yeah, man, that's a very good thing, man. I was hoping.
Yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that and see what comes out of that. Let me just to take a minute on that, because I do want to get to my dad, and I'm sure he wants to talk about the Yankees and the disappointing game 163. It's been what? When was the last album? 2013?
2013, yeah.
To me, they're not getting any younger. I haven't heard much out of Iommi. I know that Geeza's done a couple of things. Nothing exciting. Obviously, the last thing from Ozzy with Post Malone and all that, I thought it sucked. I would love to see just a down-home, old-fashioned Black Sabbath album. I would love to see those guys come together and do another one. Why not? What the hell? It don't hurt.
Yeah, dude, listen, I'm hoping that this happens, man. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so again, was not. I guess Ozzy would be the start for me, because if he said no, then it doesn't pay, and he'd be the one guy who seems to be somewhat busy. So if he said no, or Sharon got in the way, that would be the stop. But seemed like it was receptive, and we'll see.
You would like to think that nobody's going to get in the way of that. And if these 4 guys decide to sit down and write something, that everybody's just going to leave them alone and let them go do what they need to do and put out, maybe the last metal album of all time, because there certainly ain't anything good happening in the metal world right now. And if they started it, it's almost like, you know what, I'd be happy if they came in on and they finished it. And that was it,
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to agree with you. Normally I would argue with you, but I have to tell you, like I listened to some of the classic bands that you and I grew up with. And I just listened today on the way home. Sirius was must have been featuring the album from KK's Priest, which I have to tell you wasn't very good. I did not, I was not able to stick with. I think I heard 3 songs, and none of them kept me at the radio. I kept switching off to come back to a different song. The latest Maiden album, again, I love Maiden. You know how much I'm a fan. Was not an album I am going to run to. So I would agree with you that we need somebody to put out a real metal album that we're going to want to listen to more than once.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I know there's other metal bands out there.
Mm-hmm.
None of them have stepped up to the plate as far as I'm concerned. My opinion is that they're all subpar for the most part. I mean, who takes over? And nobody has stepped to the plate. So
yeah, you're right. You're right so far. I'll say this. I won't agree that there aren't playing good stuff. I saw Maiden the last few years. You went with this. Maiden sounded great. I don't love the new music. I just don't. So when they're playing the classics, I'm all in. But I would agree with you that and it's shocking that these are bands who wrote classic albums can't write something that could be considered a classic at this point. I just don't understand why that is.
I don't know. I think in their minds, they think that they're writing something classic, and I just don't understand it. I mean, Priest, at this point in time, do we need a new album from Priest?
The last 2 weren't bad. Firepower was a good album. But the same thing. It's like Metallica's Hardwired. It was good and a really good attempt, but it's almost like they all forgot how to be a metal band or how to write like a metal band. That's more like it, because they can still play. There's no doubt in my mind they can still crank out the songs that they played 40 years ago and play them well. It's just they forgot the formula of what, especially Maiden, with all the progressive stuff and the 12-minute songs. And, I don't care who you are as a Maiden fan. You're not loving this stuff. You may say it, but there's no way a true Maiden fan loves these albums like they did the early stuff. It's just not possible. So that, to me, it's just an arrogance to say, screw it. I ain't got to write a 3.5-minute song that just rips the heart out of you. I'm going to write this, 12-minute opera that's going to bore you and put you to sleep.
You know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
Maybe. And I understand what you're saying, and I got a tendency to agree with you. Maybe they just feel as though that for years they wrote the 3.5-minute song for the most part. For the most part, not all the time. Most of their songs were rather on the long side anyway.
6-7 minutes, yeah.
But maybe they just feel as though that, you know what, this is what we want to do now.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
And if you write a couple 10, 12-minute songs, yeah, it's not what people want to hear, but you know what? It fills an album rather quickly, as you know.
No, I got it, Jeff. But honestly, listen, if you're a true Maiden fan, you're buying anything they put out. I've bought every album since. This is the only one I haven't bought yet, and I will get it. Eventually, I will buy it for my collection. I have everything else. I'm going to buy it. But I have to tell you, it's just I don't know when I'll listen to it. Maybe it's one of those albums like I'll put on when I'm in the room working on the show, nobody's home, and I'll play it through, and it's across the room, so I can't get up and change it. But when I'm in the car and one of those songs come on, I got to be honest with you, it goes. I move on to the next thing. I just don't. I was driving home today. I listened to "Die with Your Boots On." I couldn't get enough of it. I wish they would have replayed it. I was such a great song, but I've heard some of the new stuff on the radio, and I go right past it. It catches you for a minute, and then it's just too long. It's just too long.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, I mean, I don't have satellite radio, but I have Amazon, and honestly, I'm going to look on Amazon right now. I don't even know if I downloaded that album.
Yeah.
As of yet, to be honest with you, I don't think I did.
I don't have it either, Jeff, to be honest with you. I don't, and I'm, like I said, I'm not going to run to buy it. But, hey, listen, let's kick the show off. We're going to come back to this because I do want to talk more about it. We got David Lee Roth stuff to talk about, Eddie Van Halen stuff to talk about, and a lot of sports stuff, a lot of football. We got some baseball. I want to get to my dad, but Jeff, let's kick the show off the right way now. Jeff, how was your week?
It was all right. It was all right until yesterday and today.
Oh yeah, something specifically happened, did you?
Yes, something did specifically happen, Thomas.
Which is?
Well, I asked you where I'm taking you over the weekend, and you fucking would dilly dally and dick me around instead of
I'm trying. You know, it is. I am trying to. I was trying to debate because while I like Feast, I'm not sure this. I'm thinking on the menu. What would Jeff eat if I was Jeff here? And while it's a good Italian place, we've decided, my wife and I, we are going to come to Staten Island. We're going to go to the new Juicy Lucy, so that way we'll kind of meet halfway. My wife's at work, so we're very close to the Outer Bridge. And,
I don't know where it is by the Outer Bridge.
Yes, you know where it is. Page Avenue, and you know there's the TD Bank on the corner. There's you make the right, go down that block, and on your left, it's on your left-hand side.
I don't think it's open yet.
It is open.
You sure?
Positivo. Yeah.
Because I know they just opened a place on Amboy Road where the old Smash Burger was.
Same place.
That's not off of Page Avenue.
It's off of Page. I'm telling you, I passed it.
No. Where the old Smash Burger is off of Richmond.
But this is where, again, I'm wherever that is, it's still closer. I'm pretty sure it's where I said it, but that's okay. Wherever it is in that area, that's where we're going to go to. And he's open.
I mean, I know that place is open, but
he hasn't opened a third place. There's only two places.
Oh, so then it's on Amboy Road by this is Richmond Republic. It's by Richmond Republic. It's by the pet store where I got my dog.
Okay, wherever it is, that's where we're going to meet.
That's up to you.
Yeah, that's where we're going to go. We'll do like a 4:15, 4:30 type of thing. So my wife gets out of work, and we'll take our time and and drive down that way, and we'll meet you there. That's where we'll meet for dinner.
No, that's totally up to you, man. I have no problem going to Yersey if need be.
I get it, but I figure we'll do it halfway and make life easier on everybody.
All right, it's totally up to you, man.
All right, so now you can get off your high horse and your nastiness, and that's where we'll go.
No, I'm not being nasty, man.
I did sense a bit of nastiness on the thing, but that's okay. You still loved it as well.
I had to get to the fucking bottom line here, man.
I got you. All
right, pick a place. Well, I don't know. Where would you like to go?
Listen, I was trying to be a good friend and saying, well, let me think of where my friend.
It's your birthday. You go where you want to go.
I try to be considerate to my friends. I
know that, and that's very nice of you. But when it's your birthday and somebody says, "Come on, I'm going to take you out to eat for your birthday dinner," you pick the place and you're like, "This is where I want to go."
Well, I picked it. So I officially picked it. We're going out to dinner Saturday night, and then we'll talk about. There's a lot of good college games on, so make sure. Also, that'd be a nice place we can go. I'm sure they'll have some TVs on, and we'll watch some of the college football games. So we'll see some there. Good games in the afternoon. I'll get to them, but let's get to my dad and see what he's up to and what he wants to do. I'm sure it's got to be the Yankees after a very disappointing game, 163. So let's get my dad on. What's up, Pop?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. What's going on, Pops?
Mr. Florio.
Well, you hit a sore spot when you said about the Yankees.
Yeah.
I said it whole year, and I'll say it next year, too. They're terrible. They don't have a good team. They really don't. I mean, there's about 5-6 guys in that team. Torres, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know how a guy don't know baseball. Been playing since he doesn't know when you miss, you can run to first base. If there's 2 out, 1 out, you're automatically out, and a runner on base. And then you got Sanchez. The bottom line is, if they keep, what's his name? If they keep the manager,
yep.
Boom. They're not going anywhere. They're not changing. They're going to stay. They can't understand the elliptics, whatever they call it.
Say again?
I think it's terrible.
Oh, Boone?
Yeah, Boone.
Yeah.
And with this thing that they play, where you're better off striking out than hitting the ball on the ground because
they've been talking about it. They've been talking about it all week, Dad, and this is what the Yankees have turned themselves into. And teams use analytics. If you watch like the Tampa Bay Rays, you watch the A's, they live by the analytics. Okay, but here's the difference: their analytics are getting on base. Their analytics are playing good defense, being athletic. The Yankees are living with velocity, whether it's throwing the ball 100 miles an hour, whether you're pitching or playing in the outfield, or exit velocity on hitting. I saw the Yankees put up exit velocity on ground balls. how hard the guy hit a ground ball up the middle. Like, who cares how hard the ball was hit? But that's
How hard was it hit up the middle?
it was like it was like 118 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, so that's the problem. The Yankees think that they can muscle their way through, Pop. And what they're finding out is, and what I said all year, and you've been saying it, and a lot of Yankee fans say it, they're built to win during the regular season because you're going to face the 3, 4, 5 pitcher. You're going to face the guy, coming up from the minors for a quick start. And in the playoffs, you're going to get the 1 and 2 and a good dose of a bullpen, and they can't manufacture runs, and that's exactly what happened.
They have no. They're not really a good team. If you look at them, they're not a good team.
I agree.
They're like a home run. They're like any home run hitter.
Yes.
If you hit, and most home run hitters are streak hitters, and that's the Yankees. I mean, you got a guy playing left field, okay? The guy hits 20, 30 home runs. He's batting 160. Please, man. I mean,
No, I get it. Now I'm going to say this. I was completely, the second half of the season, I was completely impressed with the way Stanton and Judge played as the big hitters. Judge a little more of an all-around hitter. He hit close to 300 this year. Stanton was on fire. I mean, that game, any other stadium, he had 3 home runs in that game. Anybody else that there isn't a 37-foot high wall, he hit 3 home runs on Tuesday night. But again, it hit off the wall, so he wound up with 2 singles and a double, I think, or whatever it was. And they lost, and I'm not blaming the third base coach. I don't know how you felt about the play at the plate. I had no problem with him sending him. Yeah, to me, I had no problem. I will say to the end, then first off, I don't know if he thought about Gallo being on deck, but even if he didn't, they don't manufacture runs. The ball got past the left field, the center field let him make the play, and they needed 2 perfect throws to get him, and they made it. Good for them. Good for them. What's up, Leonard Anthony? Yeah,
I don't understand. I mean, if you're a pitcher, any decent pitcher, I'd rather face a home run hitter than anybody than a contact. They don't have a contact hitter. They don't have somebody that you can say with the bases loaded, I'd like to have this guy. I mean, the Yankees, you went back years and years. You had all kinds of contact hitters. Now all they got is it's either a home run or nothing. There's Gallo is what the Yankees are. Either I hit you a home run or the game, or I strike out.
Yeah, listen, Gallo, his stats when he came over to the Yankees, he hit 160. Jeff, this is interesting. 160. I think he had 88 strikeouts, 13 homers, 20-something walks, and a handful of RBIs in the second half of the season. And that's just not the way. You can't come over, be the big guy who was supposed to, jumpstart the team and hit 160 with 88 strikeouts.
No,
in the second half of the season.
No.
It's just a brutal game. It's a team not built to win in the playoffs, Dad. And we're going to see. Listen.
I don't even think it's the playoffs.
Yes, it is. No, it definitely is, Pops. It's definitely the playoffs.
I mean, they were terrible.
I got it, Dad. They were terrible, but they won. But I got it, Dad. I understand that. But they won 92 or 93 games. So they're built to win in the season because you can have bad streaks, go on a couple of runs like they did, and you're going to face the bottom of the barrel sometimes. And you're going to face the Orioles, and you're going to face a lot of bad teams. When you get to the playoffs, is a different ballgame, and that's the problem with the Yankee team. That's why they've lost 4 years in a row in the playoffs, because they can't manufacture runs. They can't put the ball in play. They chase bad pitches, and they don't play great defense.
That's not a good team, though.
Well, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing.
That's not a good team. I wouldn't want them.
No, I'm with you. So for me, I think you're going to wind up with Gallo back, and you hope that it's a different season for the guy. He'll change a little bit, but Torres has got to go. As far as I'm concerned, Sanchez has got to go. Voigt's got to go. Yeah, I mean, you got to go out and get a shortstop. I want a defensive shortstop. I would keep Rizzo if I could, if it doesn't cost me more than 2 years and, maybe $15, $16 million a year. I keep Rizzo. He's a good ball player and a great first baseman. But this team needs to become more athletic, and it needs to be more put the ball in play.
Well, you you know what you're gonna, like I said before, Tommy, you're gonna know if they resign Boone, you know nothing's gonna change. They may make a trade here or get rid of somebody.
No,
They're never gonna get rid of Sanchez.
No, Sanchez, I will guarantee you right now, Sanchez is gone. There's no way they will bring Sanchez back next year.
I'd be very shocked.
No, there's no way. I will tell you.
Would be admitting that he screwed up.
No, but they have no choice. It's no, there's no chance. No, listen, every big game that they play, he's on the bench. It's over. There's no way in the world after the season he had that they will bring him back. I will guarantee you they will not bring Sanchez back.
Very shocked. I think they should.
Yeah, I'm just telling you. I mean, you won't see Voit. You're not going to see him. I think Torres will be back. I think Torres will be your second baseman next year. I think they saw enough of him in the second half. When it's hit. Now again, I'm not a fan. The guy doesn't play the game the right way. I have no problem with them getting rid of him. But Torres will be back. LeMahieu will be back. You'll obviously Judge and Stanton. But yeah, no, I think they'll have another catcher and a new shortstop. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. It's going to be interesting.
How many more years do they have Stanton for?
Stanton's got at least another 6 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got 7 years left on him.
Yeah.
He said the other day.
Yeah.
He's got on his. No, listen, I give the guy credit. I mean, when he gets on his streak, but there's nobody in that team that gets on his streak. I mean,
let me tell you something. I'll take the streak that Stanton was on. I mean, Stanton hit the ball. I mean, listen, I grant you it's a lot of power, and there's going to be some strikeout mixed in there. But Stanton was a guy you didn't want to face. I mean, I was shocked Sunday that they pitched to Judge second and third, 1 out, and Stanton coming up. There was Gallo coming up. I forget who was coming up. Gallo was coming up. I think Stanton was coming up. I would never have faced it there, but okay. To me, those are a couple of guys that get on streaks. The rest of them, I mean, LeMahieu last year was a great hitter. The year before he was a great hitter. This year he had a bad year, but they have some players. It just they're the same type of players. So that's the problem. You need a Tyler Wade type of guy who gets on base, a little better hitter than Tyler Wade. And Pete D, I agree with you. But think about it, Pete. The Red Sox had Schwarber leading off. It's a different game. I agree with you. To me, that was the most ridiculous lineup. And if anybody doesn't pay attention, the Yankees played 163 games. They had 146 different starting lineups, batting lineups. They had 146 times they had different lineups. So, I don't get it either, Pete. What I would have started, I tell you the truth, I would have started Gardner at the leadoff spot. I'm sorry. I know he hasn't played well, but there's no way in the world that I'm starting Rizzo. Rizzo hits 2, Judge 3, and then Stanton 4, and I'll live with Gardner, and get him on if he gets on base, and he's been better. So yeah, I don't understand the Rizzo thing leading off, but it's a different game.
Well, I think again, if you go to the analytics, whatever the hell they call
it, the analytics,
and they stay with that. I think they do. Don't even want. I can't.
But they all do it. It's not just the Yankees. Everybody uses analytics. It's just.
But when you have to have the players to do it, you have to. I mean, there were times they had 4 outfielders. They had the whole left side of the whole.
Listen. I'm not disagreeing.
Guys are still looking to knock the ball over.
I get it.
But you need runners.
That I agree with you. You're preaching to the choir. I got it. This team has to change. They have to get quicker, more athletic. They got to get guys who can get on base and cause. Listen, when Tyler Wade gets on base, he causes havoc. He scores runs. I'm not saying, but and they need that. But they need a guy who hits to do that, not the pinch hit. Right. Not the pinch run him for a guy who got on base. They need guys who can get on base that way. I like, there's guys I like. When I bring Urshela back, no, I played LeMahieu at third base. I'm not high on Urshela anymore, but he'll be back. He'll be playing third base next year.
Yeah, they won't get rid of him.
Yeah, so I mean,
I think it's cheap too.
Yeah, Pete, I agree with you. I like the old school way of playing the game. Jeff. I want my leadoff guy to be a quick guy, get on base. Doesn't have to have a ton of power, but I want him to get on. I want my second guy to be a guy who hit the all fields. I don't want analytics, Jeff. I want old school baseball where guys have a role and they do it. And I don't want to hear about exit velocity and
Tom, it's the way it's going now. It's everybody everybody lives their life
Mhm.
on a screen or
Yep.
somehow. So why not give the fans something else to watch and look at while they're there? Because God knows they don't pay attention to this stuff like they once did. You can't tell me that people are watching these games like they once did. They need another stat to grab their attention. I understand what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, and I agree with you. What's the point of sitting there watching a 3-hour baseball game if you're going to be worrying about other stats? But this is something new all the time, and this is it. It ain't going anyplace.
No,
You know?
listen, that you're 100% right. And listen, Pete, you're right. Urshela catch was a better catch than the Jeter one into the stands. I thought he made a great play, and Urshela's not a bad player. I just don't think he hits enough, and I saw too many errors this year from him. And he's gotten to be a little injury prone. So I would like to see LeMahieu play full time at third, and then spot play here and there, across the infield, giving guys a break. But Urshela will be back next year, and it was a great play. Definitely one of the best hustle plays I've ever seen, to go the distance he went and make a big play in a big game like that. So good job. Yeah, I know, Jeff.
It's a shame, but it's the way it is. I mean, when they talk about certain stats, and they'll say, well, he's hitting this, like with hitters in scoring position, and they just have simply way too many stats.
Yes.
I think it takes away from the game.
Yeah, to me, it's on-base percentage is a huge one. Obviously batting average, all those other ones. I don't know, Pop. It is what it is. You're going to follow the rest of the playoffs there? You watching any of it?
Right now, I got to tell you, you're going to know right away by the manager.
Oh, sure.
They rehire Boone, and I got nothing against Boone. It's not him. This is the way he was taught, and this is the way they said that he gets the lineup from above. They send him the lineup down there. He can make 1 or 2 changes, but he has to basically follow what the analytics want.
Yeah.
And I think it's terrible. I think it ruined baseball. It made baseball into a little girly sport. And I just don't. There's nobody there. There's no Rod Carew. There's no anybody. Ted Williams. There's no hitter. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
But I said my piece. I vented it out. I feel better now.
All right, good. I'm glad you feel better.
Listen, you guys enjoy your weekend. Tommy, I'll talk to you during the week.
You got it, Pop. I'll see you over the weekend.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, Pop. That's my dad who checks in every Thursday night with us, and I'm always glad to have him here on the Hard Rock and Sports Show. And Jeff, he's on the money with a lot of it. Listen, the game's a little different, and I get it, but there has to be a recipe, Jeff. There has to be a recipe for success, and you can't have a team of 8 of the same players who play exactly the same way. You have to have a guy who hits for power in your lineup. You gotta. You got to have a guy who gets on base, and guys who do different things. And the Yankees are basically a team of guys, top through bottom, that are big. That do not change their swing based on the situation. You know what I mean? They're swinging from the heels. It don't matter if it's 1 out, 2 outs. You're down 1. You're up 5. The Yankees watch the Yankees this year. It's all about the exit velocity. It's all about how hard I can hit the ball and get ESPN to show my exit velocity and arc angle.
No, listen, dude, it is what it is. It's a relatively new stat that draws people in because they want to see when you get a guy like Judge or Stanton.
Yeah.
At the exit velocity, if they crack a home run and it's 130 miles an hour, they want to see if is it ever going to get topped. It's a shame that that's what the game is, but they're trying to draw in different people, new people. You got to think, we use the computer and everything else, but none of today's kids go out and actually play baseball. They're looking at everything on a phone and a tablet and whatever.
Yeah.
So this just gives them another way to follow the game. And listen, it is what it is. It's a shame they're ruining it, but they're not worried about people like you. They have people like you. They want the new people.
No, I listen. I agree with you. And let's switch over a little bit to the other side, the other team in town, the Mets. And listen, I think the Mets have a lot of issues. And Patrick, he said it. He's right. If you're a Yankee fan, you're spoiled. You go. For the last almost 30 years, going back to 94, 95, the Yankees are making the playoffs every year. They have a winning record every year. They've played in 7 World Series, I think it is, won 5 of them. Obviously you've had a little bit of a drought the last 12 years, but you've had success. And we sit here and blast, we lost the playoffs again, and then you look across town and you got the Mets, who just new owners, same stink, and I get it. And I think the problem with the Mets, Jeff, is almost the same thing with the Yankees. Is they've tried to stick with the same formula for 4 years or 5 years or 6 years now, going back to 2014 and 15, and it just isn't working. And I think that it's time for the Mets, and I think they might do it this year. Blow it up. They may turn around this year, bring in a new team president, bring in a new manager, which they obviously let go with Luis Rojas, who I didn't think did a terrible job. I didn't just think he did any sort of a good job. But they're another team that needs a makeover. They just need a makeover, and they need to put together a few good years in a row, and they just haven't been able to do it.
I think part of the problem with the Mets is that they're so maybe gun shy about what to do, and they know that they're not attracting top level free agents and everything else. Not that maybe they can't. I know that their financial situation is a little bit different now, but they're not getting the players that they really need.
Mm-hmm.
Well, until they could attract players that want to come and play there and everything else, and I mean, listen, maybe it's easier said than done. I don't know. But you see some of these bad baseball contracts that the Yankees have with Stanton for, it seems like 7 years or whatever the fuck.
Oh, he came to the Yankees, yeah.
And it's just, why do you want to do yourself with a contract like that? It just doesn't make much in the way of sense. You got to do something, though. I guess you got to have the right balance on the team. If you don't have it, it ain't going to happen. Well, and the Mets, the only people that seem to know anything about the Mets are Met fans. You know what I mean? Like, they're not a team that jumps out at you and be like, well, they got this guy or they got that guy. It's just whatever.
It always just seems for the Mets that they bring in a guy. You look at Lindor. Now, Lindor's had a great reputation the last few years. He played really well in Cleveland. Again, it's his first year. But, there was a little bit of a down year this year, and the Mets go out there and give them this huge contract at 10 years, $340 million, and he poops the bed. And, I will give Lindor a chance. He'll, maybe come back next year. The Mets have a history of this, of signing free agents that have great years somewhere else, and they come here and just don't live up to expectations. So, I think and again, I go back to it all the time. Teams need to have an identity, and you have to take that identity and build your team around it. You look at the Tampa Bay Rays are a small ball, small market, heavy on playing the game the right way. Good defense, taking bases, being smart, and they build their team that way. The Yankees, for years, were the Bronx Bombers, but that being said, there were 3 or 4 guys in the lineup who can hit home runs. Then you mixed in the guys. These teams nowadays, it's just a hodgepodge. Let's just grab everybody who hits the ball hard, throw them on a team, and hope that we beat the crap out of everybody. And
it's not working.
It ain't
working. It's. Yeah. I see.
Hey, hold on a second, Jeff. Hold on. Hey, Leonard. Again, I started the show off this way. Good luck to you. Please keep us up to date. And I wish you the best tomorrow in your procedure.
Yes, good luck, Leonard.
Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
No, it's a shame, but I see so much of the Mets in other areas in sports.
Oh boy.
Just
all right, let me finish up the baseball thing before we get to football on here at the Hard Rock and Sports Show Thursday night. Thanks for joining us, Jeff and Tom. You know what, Leonard? Patrick, you're right. Here's the thing for the Mets, and I know this is going to sound crazy, and I know they're talking about Bob Melvin. They're talking about all these different guys. If the Mets are smart, go get an old school manager. Go get Buck Showalter for 3 years. Buck Showalter is the perfect guy for 3 seasons. After that, the team stops listening. Go back to the Yankees. He turns that franchise around. He fixed it, and then they bounced him, and the next thing you know, they bring Torrey and wins a World Series. He went to the Diamondbacks. He literally built the Diamondbacks. He ran out of gas. They got rid of him next year. Bob Brenly goes out and wins the World Series. He went and fixed the Orioles for 3 or 4 years. They were actually competitive, and they kept them too long, and then that team fell apart. Buck Showalter is the guy you want on a team that needs an identity, needs to learn how to play the game the right way. You do it. You put a bench coach there that maybe ultimately be the guy. You know, I hear them talking about Carlos Beltran now. I've heard a bunch of names, Melvin. You know, give me Buck for 3 years. You may not win a World Series, but by the time he's done, you'll have a team that knows how to play the game, that has a decent clubhouse, and you turn it over to somebody else, and they'll probably win a World Series. So if I'm the Mets, I have Buck Showalter.
You don't want Buck Showalter.
I don't.
No.
Who do I
you want. I don't know who you want, but you don't want to go 3 years without winning something. Do you realize the last time the Mets won a World Series was 1986? So you're talking almost 36 years ago. That's one thing. Okay. Second, another 3 years, waiting another 3 years with Showalter, if that's what you would choose to do, would bring you almost to 40 years without a championship. Now they've gone to the World Series 2 or 3 times in that time span?
2000 and 2015, 2 times.
Okay, so twice since 1986,
Yeah.
and lost both times.
Correct.
Okay, so they've been in more World Series and lost than they actually won.
Correct.
So, you need to get this team consistent. Okay.
Well, that's what Showalter will do. Yes.
Oh, yeah, but you need to get a little bit more than consistent. This team falls into the dangerous trap of what a lot of other New York City teams do. Okay.
Here we go.
Hold on, stop, man. I got my blinker on. I'm trying to cut on in, okay? And then I'm just barging on over.
Here we go.
You're talking about the Rangers, the Knicks, the Jets, the Giants. These are teams that should be at the top of their sports because they're New York teams, but yet more often than not, they fail. Do you realize that the only consistent winner in New York sports is the New York Yankees?
That's true. That's correct.
And they have not won a World Series in over 10 years, correct?
Correct. 12 years now.
All right. So, these New York teams, you would think there's a lot to be learned from watching the other teams that are winning around them.
Yep.
The Tampa Bay Devil Rays, I'm not a baseball fan, but I know that every year they kick the shit out of Yankees a couple times a year. Whenever they got to play them, and they batter the Yankees around. And teams like the Giants that end up losing certain games that they shouldn't. The Jets, just a lost franchise, period. And the Islanders and the Devils, local teams that just can't seem to get on track again.
Yeah, I'm with you.
With you. I don't know. Is Showalter too old?
I don't think so. Listen, what's his name? Tony La Russa is 77 years old, came back out of retirement this year, and has the Chicago White Sox in the playoffs.
Okay, but you know what?
Showalter's got to be mid-60s, 62, 63, 64.
He's only a little bit older than we are?
That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you got guys like Showalter that you say to bring in, and I don't know, man. I don't know. There's just a lot of guys that are leaders in New York sports that shouldn't be there. Gettleman shouldn't be there. Judge shouldn't be there. I just need to replace these guys.
Here we go. Let me know when you're done. Let me know. So, yes, guys, big playoffs coming up. Big game, a big win last night for the Dodgers. With a walk-off over the St. Louis Cardinals. They get ready to face the Giants, which probably is one of the best series you're ever going to watch, is San Francisco Giants and the LA Dodgers.
The New York Giants, I was going to say.
Boston and Tampa kick off their shot right now. The White Sox and the Houston Astros are in game one. The Astros are up 6-1. I'm praying for I'm rooting for the Chicago White Sox in that series. And I think I'll be rooting for the National League in the rest of the playoffs. But lots of good postseason baseball. This is where it gets interesting, folks. So make sure you keep track of it, and we'll update you as we get along tonight. But we're going to switch it over to a little football. I want to talk a little bit. What's the matter?
No, I'm just praising the Lord and our Savior Jesus. Thank God, leaving baseball behind where it belongs. The Yankees died. Baseball's over. Now it's just formality.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a bit. Let's talk about the divisions right now, Jeff. After week 4, I have a new segment we're going to play a little bit called contenders or pretenders. Which
I don't even know what this is about, and already I'm liking it.
Yeah, this is a fun one. We'll go through the league, and I will tell you. I'll throw out some teams, and you'll tell me whether you think they're a contender at the quarter pole or they're a pretender.
Okay,
and of course, this could actually change along the way. But let's talk about Sunday's games a little bit. Let's talk about the league right now. Before we get to the Jets and Giants, we'll hold them off. I would think you have some good, some bad to say about both New York teams at this point from this past weekend's games. But let me get to my notes, and we'll get that going now. So Jeff, let's talk about right now the division. Big games last weekend in the NFC West with the Arizona Cardinals now 4-0. You've been on the Cardinal bandwagon for a year and change now. And they went out there and stopped the crap out of the Rams. Maybe a little letdown from the week before's game when they went out and beat Tampa. Seattle 2-2, Frisco 2-2. Seems to be, we're starting to settle out a little bit with the Rams and the Cardinals. And the Rams are on tonight against the Seahawks, a big division game. Your thoughts on the NFC West?
I think that's a big division game. But listen, this was a division that was close last year.
Yep.
And the last couple of years, I just remember that, it seems every year that there's a new team in that division that finishes near the top.
Yep.
A couple of years ago it was San Francisco, and then the Rams. Seattle's always near the top. I just think that the Cardinals, that it's time for the Cardinals to step up and have their moment. And I think we're in the midst of watching that happen now. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm pretty confident that they're going to be in the mix until the end and possibly in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be out of it between now and, like, say, week 12. They're not going to be a team that's
right,
4-8 going into the final stretch. You know what I'm saying?
Understood. Let's drop down to the NFC North and talk a little bit about the Packers at 3-1, who I think might be a little bit of a fake 3-1. The Bears get a win last week, this past Sunday with your boy Justin Fields getting the start. The Vikings shit the bed.
Justin Fields has been announced as their new starter.
Yep, that's it. You're 100% right. The Lions, a tough 0-4, but 0-4. You got a thought on the NFC North, Jeff?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you, Tom. I'm not completely sold, and I'm not liking the new look of Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what he calls it, if he's going through a second childhood or whatever.
Yeah.
He looks like a crackhead that sits in front of a coffee shop all day long begging for spare change and cigarette butts, but that's him.
Yeah.
The Lions, I agree with you. I have a feeling that neither one of these teams are what their records show. I think the Lions are a little bit better.
I agree with you.
And I think the Packers are not quite a 3-1 team.
I agree with you on this. I think the Lions have looked better. They just haven't won. And again, that's a big part. You got to win the games.
Yeah,
but the Lions have not been blown out. What did they lose this week? 24-14 to the Bears, which I think is their worst loss of the season. In sense of, that's a game I thought they could have won.
Well, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I don't know much of what's going on, but from what I read about football on the daily basis, and especially on Monday mornings, I haven't seen many articles that painted the Lions in a bad way. Now, I understand 0-4 is being in a bad way. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they just seem to have a little something behind them that
you do. They're playing harder.
They may finish 5-11 this year. Who knows? Maybe they even go 0-17. I don't know. But this is a team I think that is going to start to learn how to win one way or another. I think Goff is a good quarterback for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's been a good move for him. So interesting, though. The Vikings lost this week. The Vikings lost 14-7 to the Browns. This is a bad team. I think this is the end of this regime. I think Zimmer will get fired if they continue to play this way. I don't think Cousins will be back. I think there'll be a complete wholesale change on the Vikings. They had their shot, their run. This is going to be the Packers this year. This division next year, depending on what happens with Aaron Rodgers, could be a complete change in a division next year.
Very well, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how this plays out.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
You do. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm going to disagree with you on that one because one, who takes over the division? It's not going to be Chicago.
Okay.
Because Fields is going in there. Yes, he's going in early in the year, and that's due to injury, or else he would still wouldn't be there.
True.
Okay, but he still is. He's going to learn, but I don't think he's going to be that much better come next year. Okay, Detroit, until they actually start to win, I just can't with Detroit. I just don't see it. I don't get them. The Vikings, I don't know. If you're the Vikings, what do you do for a quarterback? Who do you go look at? I mean, what do you do? Nobody has talked about anything about bringing in Cam Newton, and we're at the quarter way of the season, quarter way point. You know what I mean? So nobody's bringing in Cam Newton as of yet, not even for a tryout.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. To be honest,
I don't see it happening either. But it's just odd that there is some talent out there, but I just don't see anybody taking it. So next year, let's say Rodgers isn't with that team, isn't with the Packers. Who moves into first place there?
It's a good question. I tell you right now, to be honest with you, ask me Detroit. I think Detroit has the second best quarterback in the division in golf. I think they're playing better.
Who's the first quarterback in the division?
Aaron Rodgers is still the best quarterback in the division.
Oh, okay. I'm talking that he's not there.
Right. So let's say he's not there next year. Depending on who they bring in, and they probably go with Love next year. They got to get on the roster that they think they want to play. To me, I think Detroit would be my favorite right now. Now, who do they draft? Who they pick up in free agency? All that good stuff plays into it. But I like this Lions team. I everybody laughed at Dan Campbell, and rightly so, with his press conferences and biting knees and all that stuff. but I'll tell you that they're playing hard, inspired football, and I think you're a couple of good players away. And I think it's not easy to say, but I think right now, if I was picking it next year, I'll still leave the Packers at the top. But I'll tell you that I think the Detroit Lions are coming hard.
It's time is going to tell as the season goes on.
Absolutely.
I have a tendency to agree with you that the Vikings are on the downswing. The Lions have been bad for so long that I don't know if anybody believes in them. Like, I just can't see the Lions ever being a perennial contender.
Again, I agree with you, but like you said, sometimes you just need a little bit of a change in culture, a little feisty. You got to win a few games, and the culture changes. And I think that's all that team needs at this point. They've got some talent. They need a little talent at the receiver spot, at the running back spot, at the big play spots. Maybe they got the kid they drafted the corner, Caleb Farley gets hurt. I think there's some start is there, and they're playing hard football. They're just coming up a little bit short. So we'll see. It's an interesting division to watch next year, Jeff. Let's drop down to the NFC South, where Tampa is a surprising 3-1. I don't think they've been dominant as the Super Bowl champs, but they are 3-1. Surprising Carolina Panthers 3-1 with former Jet cast-off Sam Darnold having a pretty good year. The Saints are an uninspiring 2-2, and the Falcons are 1-3. Going out to London to play the Jets this week in a 9:30 game. Jeff, your thoughts on the NFC South? A little bit of a surprise in the division this year, I think.
Yeah. I guess you have to give it to Tampa Bay as the best team in the division.
Sure.
But, Tampa Bay, a bunch of older guys on that roster. All of a sudden, one day, I don't care if they won the Super Bowl last year and they brought back 20 of 23 veterans or whatever it was that they did for themselves.
Yeah.
This is a team that all of a sudden one day is just going to start to play bad.
Yes.
Just because of age, father time is going to catch up with them.
100%.
There's not much that they're going to be able to do about it when it happens. And a couple injuries because they're older players.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe COVID for a few weeks, let COVID run through that team. It's liable to fuck some people up and fuck up some plans for that.
I'll just say that. Listen, they brought back. I think they brought back 22 of 22 starters from last year. So the stability's there. You're right. It's a year later, but I would say, obviously, listen, they got a lot of talent on that team. But I think that as a Super Bowl champ from last year, they are still up there. I think they'll win that division going away. Right now, I would not put them as my top team in the league. They would probably be in the top 3, but and unless they get on a hot streak, I'm not sure this team is Super Bowl bound again. So Carolina's very surprising, good defense, and they're getting good play out of their quarterback. And a little bit of a surprise. And New Orleans is kind of an average team, and they showed that Sunday.
Yeah, Jameis Winston doesn't seem to be the answer. He had a good opening week, and I don't. Has he even cracked 200 yards yet?
This week he finally got to 200 yards. And listen, not for nothing. I get it. I think Sean Payton's did a nice job of keeping him from imploding. But like you just said, he's not going to be the guy to put that team on his shoulders and go out there and win a game, for 60 minutes. If they don't run the ball and play good defense and have to rely on him to win the game. Now, I'll tell you this. We'll get into it in the Giant game, but I think Sean Payton made one of the worst decisions I've ever seen, and he's got to stop trying to think he's, playing 2 quarterbacks in the middle of a game tells me one thing, Jeff. They don't have a quarterback. You don't bring Taysom Hill in to run the football consistently and then start throwing passes down the field when Jameis Winston's your starting quarterback. Once you do that, you told me that you don't believe in Jameis Winston.
Of course not. But you know what? There's too many teams that are doing that, and the Saints think that they're going to get a spark from a guy like him, and I just don't see the point of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have thought the Saints. I remember watching a few minutes of catching a few minutes of them the other week, and they were moving the ball slowly but surely. They were moving the ball, and it's like they're not going to overwhelm you. Those days are over. They don't have Drew Brees anymore. They have a passing attack, but they were winning. They won a couple games, but 500 after 4 weeks, something is amiss. And it's Jameis Winston is the quarterback. Hill, if you didn't even try to bring in another quarterback.
No.
And Taysom Hill, come on, when he comes into the game, you pretty much know what he's going to do.
Correct. He's going to run the football.
It's not like he's, 8 or 10 for 120 yards so far this year because you put him in certain situations. And if he's not throwing the ball, he's running the ball great. He's, rushed 10 times and he's got 250 yards because he broke off a couple big runs. He's just not the surprise that they think he is. I just don't understand it. And why take a chance of putting your backup quarterback in? Suppose he gets hurt. Suppose he gets hurt.
Dude, I get it. Listen, I'm with you. I got to be honest with you. I'm with you. And if you saw the Giant game Sunday, and we'll get to it during the game, again.
Keep talking about that. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Again, Hard Rock Sports, Jeff and Tom here Thursday night, October the 7th. I'm glad you guys have stopped by. We've had a lot of people chiming in. So if you're out there, come on, chime in. Let us know what you think. We did a lot of Yankees and Mets early on. We talked a little bit about Black Sabbath. We'll get to some David Lee Roth, and we're going to talk a little bit about Eddie Van Halen and the 1-year anniversary of his passing right here. We're here every Thursday night, Jeff and I, from about 7 o'clock to 9:30, depending on how we both feel. And, of course, you can come on Sunday mornings to the Sunday Audible with Jeff, myself, and our good friend John Marhefka, where we break down every week's games. We give you our best bets, fantasy picks. We'll tell you about who's hot and who's not out there. Lots of little segments. We have some fun every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, of course, this Sunday, we welcome the one and only Sean McKenna from Barstools and Band Talk as our first celebrity guest. Sean will be on to help us break down the Giants and the Cowboy game. As a big Giant fan, Sean's going to pop up and he'll help us break down that game, talk a little about the Giants, and make sure you come back every Thursday night, every Sunday morning when Jeff, John, and myself get together for a week of 2 hours of football talk. So come to our pregame show before you go to the other pregames and listen to our unique analysis and insights to the world of football.
So let's continue these divisions.
Yes, so let's drop down to the NFC East. Again,
I love the NFC East.
Up and down play. The one team that's been mostly consistent has been the Cowboys. They're 3-1. coming off a pretty good win over the Panthers. A very good football game. Cowboys did not throw the ball extremely well, but Dak threw for 4 touchdowns. They ran the ball well. Very, very, very balanced offense, and their defense played very well, but they did give up 28 points. So again, good win for them. You drop down to the division, a very underperforming team. I think you'd have to say, Jeff, in the Washington Redskins or Washington football team if you're in the woke culture. Their defense has not played well. I think the loss of Ryan Fitzpatrick has probably hurt them offensively. And Ron Rivera's team has not looked well. Eagles the Eagles are a very bad 1-3, and the Giants are an underachieving 1-3. But still underachieving, but a good win by the Giants, which we'll get to much more later. Jeff, your thoughts on the NFC East?
Well, for my mind is like I had to catch the back of my head before my mind blew out the back of it. The Giants are underachieving at 1-3. I can't wait to hear this one.
They are, but that's okay. I'll explain it.
Please, I can't. Not now.
I want to hold it till later.
I won't be able to take it. I won't be able to take it. Anyway, the Cowboys, they seem to be the only team that's ready to go, and everything that we said about Ezekiel Elliott seems to be false. He seems to be having a pretty good season. He's probably the best running back in that division right now. Dak Prescott is probably the best quarterback in that division right now.
Actually, technically, he's not right now, but that's okay. Go ahead, keep going. Daniel Jones is right now. Daniel Jones is a higher rated quarterback than Dak Prescott. You can go look it up. I'm not making it up. You can go look it up. Daniel Jones.
If you get your football news from the fucking National Enquirer.
I get it from the right places. Pro Football Focus.
Stop, please. These are bullshit fucking.
These are the preeminent.
Whoopi Goldberg and the people of The View are writing for these fucking websites.
I go to the preeminent places, and Brian Balding of NFL Network came out and said that Daniel Jones is playing at a high super level. The Giants are right there, and their left tackle is the highest graded left tackle of the sophomore class. He is highest rated. Andrew Thomas is having a great year this year, and the rest of those tackles are all underachieving. Gettleman's striking rich again, but we'll get to the Giants later. Just talk to me right now about the NFC East before we move over to the AFC. So
Giants, the NFC East is one of the worst divisions in football simply because of the New York Giants. That's it. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Before we move over, we're going to go halftime now.
We're going halftime now?
We're going halftime now.
Go ahead.
I heard you say it earlier, but I couldn't get the question in. What are the ratings of our fans over in Israel?
We are up 4 points. I forget the exact, but we are actually up another this week again. We were up a couple points last week, and we are a couple points. We are right at the cusp of all-time numbers in Israel.
Whoa, wow.
We are on the cusp of an 8 share. We haven't never gotten to 8, but we're on the cusp of 8. What's up, Joe Flynn?
Nice. What's up, Joe Flynn?
So, yes.
Who the fuck? What is he talking about, Stanhope? What is it? Is that kid from the Raiders the other night? Is that who he's talking about?
I think that's who he's talking about, yeah.
Really? Stanhope has defense. Really? Didn't they lose the game?
Yes.
Well, what is he talking about?
Let's leave Joe. He'll pipe in. Don't worry about it. So, guys, Jeff, you want to go Stafford? Yes.
Whatever.
Listen, the Rams are a good team. They played a very bad game in the division. It was an extreme letdown. Tonight's a big game for them. They have to go out there and reassert themselves. If they go out and lose this game tonight, it takes away everything they did with the Bucs, and it makes that game almost meaningless. So the Rams need to have a big game tonight against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are not a very good team. And if this is a game that if they let Seattle go out there and dictate the game, the Seahawks, the Rams, to me, drop a few points. So we'll see how it plays out. Jeff, you want to go to something else?
I think no, we'll go over to the AFC. I just had to ask that question, but I think that they're going to have a chance. I just think that right now, if Arizona stays hot, it really doesn't matter what the Rams do. All they got to do is stay one game ahead, and they already have a game in hand.
Agreed, and they'll play another game against each other, so there's a chance to get your revenge. And there's still, hey, listen, there's still a lot of games left. There's still, there's still 13 games left, so we got plenty of football left. I agree. I think Stafford's got a team around him and all that, but you can't play that well against the Bucs and then shit the bed the following week in your own division. I'm sorry, you got to be consistent. I'm not saying you got to win every football game. Nobody does. You can't lose games in your division when your division is this close.
I think that you underestimated fucking Cardinals.
Oh, I listen. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I had them, at this point, basically 0-4, and Kingsbury basically losing his job. So I'll be the first to admit, I completely. Now listen, last year they did the same thing. They got to a real good start, and then they pooped the bed at the second half of the year. So I'm not.
What's with poop the bed? What's going on with this? What have we got? PG? And I didn't know.
Sometimes I say shit the bed. Sometimes I say poop the bed. It's whatever. You never know.
We should have stopped saying poop the bed when we were about 9.
So I will say that I'm not sold on them, but right now they're in first place. They're 4-0, and Kyler Murray's playing great football. So, to me, I completely got it wrong so far. But Jeff, let's switch over to the AFC. I want to run through the AFC. We got to get the Jets and Giants. I want to talk Eddie Van Halen. I still got David Lee Roth stuff for us to talk about. Lots to still to get to, and we're getting short on time. It's already after 8. So let's run through the 4 divisions real quick. I want to get the contenders and pretenders. Lots to get to.
Well, right after this, let's do the pretenders and contenders and pretenders.
That's good. Okay, so Jeff, the AFC South, the very underachieving division, right? Tennessee Titans at 2-2, coming off a very bad loss to the Jets. I will give Jets the credit. They played a great football game at home. But this is a Tennessee Titan team that if they wanted to establish the division, should have won that game. They are 2-2. Houston, underachieving 1-3. I can't say underachieving. I didn't expect much out of them.
No.
Indianapolis, underachieving at 1-3. And Jacksonville, where most people expect them to be at 0-4. With a lot of controversy coming out of that team with their coach and all that stuff. So, Jeff, give me your thoughts on the AFC South.
Well, listen, let's start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got Trevor Lawrence having a not such a good season, not such a good start.
Yep.
Has thrown more interceptions and had more bad games this season so far than he had his whole college career.
Very true.
I wonder how he's holding up. I don't read much about them. Wentz went from Philly to Indianapolis.
Same quarterback.
Got injured, 2 sprained ankles. So we're going to have to say that, the injury bug bit him again.
Yep.
But you can't discount anything while he's hurt. Let's see what happens until he gets 100% better. The Texans. Listen, the Texans, we didn't expect anything. If anything, they're overachieving at 1-3. I think they would have been 0-4 by now.
Can't argue that. Yep, can't argue it.
And then as far as the Tennessee Titans go, Julio Jones is out. They should have handled the Jets. To lose to the Jets is embarrassing, man. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you this. This is what bothered me about it was the Jets didn't have a prayer in their first 3 games. And then all of a sudden they come out. Now you can't. Now, I'm not knocking the Jets. They played a very good football game. I watched that back and forth. But there's no way in the world.
Did they played a good football game, Tom? Because I was at work. Or was it that Tennessee played a bad game? I would go along with Tennessee played a bad game.
Well, again, I think that's where I was headed with my point, Jeff. You're right. You're spot on. I think it was more that Tennessee came out there and played a bad football game and showed exactly what they were. They don't have any sort of defense. If they can't run the ball consistently, they get taken out of their game, and they let the Jets, look like a team. Now, if the Jets come out this week and they play really well against the Falcons, okay, maybe they turn the corner. If they come out and they get smoked by the Falcons, it's going to look really bad for the Titans. And again, watching that game, I will tell you that I was not I did not come out thinking the Jets were a better team. I just came out thinking that Tennessee's a worse team than I thought they were.
I think the Jets actually have a chance this week against.
I would agree
against the Falcons.
Yeah, again, if they play like they did last week, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
The Falcons are missing Ridley. He's not making a trip to the.
They're missing 2 other guys too.
Yeah, so I mean the Jets are fairly healthy. I know May's out again, but the kid showed signs of life. They say Mims missed practice, so I don't know if he's playing. So who knows what you're going to get. The Jets are going to be very inconsistent all year. Their offensive line is not good. And they had a good game last week. If you're Jets fans, you're going to be excited. This team's not going to win a lot of games like that. Not my opinion yet, but again, a good win. But we're discussing the Tennessee Titans. I would tell you that was an extremely bad loss for the Tennessee Titans.
It was, but you know what? At 2-2, if they were 3-1, I'd say it was a really bad loss. Yeah, I don't think that they played up to par.
Right.
But I think that maybe this team is not what we thought it was going into the season.
No, agreed. I agree. I expected much better. They'll win that division because there's really nobody else there. But I would not expect more than a 9-17 when that things comes up.
I got to agree.
So let's move on to the AFC East. I'm going to tell you this, and not an inspiring Bills 3-1. They don't seem like the dominant team that I expected them to be. I don't. We'll get to it in the contenders and pretenders thing. But I'll tell you that I am not overly impressed. The Dolphins are underachieving. I think the Patriots, who lost a tough game the other night, have underachieved. And the Jets are probably where we expected them to be at this point, considering the change in coaching and philosophy, quarterback. They're missing their left tackle. A lot of that stuff. I think the Jets are basically where we expected them to be.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't think that the Bills are underachieving. Without a lot of guys playing in the preseason, you got to figure that with the preseason just happened for some people.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're getting into the regular season. So let's see what happens in the next quarter of games. So that's one thing. As far as the Patriots go, I didn't think the Patriots were going to be any good this year anyway.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. The Dolphins, I don't think the Dolphins are that much better than they were last year. I actually think that they're worse this year.
They are.
Maybe it just goes to show that they overachieved last year.
It's possible. You're right. 100%. Yep.
And then as far as the Jets go, this is the New York Jets you're talking about.
Yep.
Anything is possible. Anything could happen. And more often than not, they play like they're completely fucking lost and they have no idea. And sometimes you got to think that maybe the McKee Seagulls would have a better chance against some of these teams than the Jets do. No. Because sometimes it's rough to watch.
Yep, 100%. So let's move on. We got a lot to get to still tonight. Jeff, the surprising AFC North, and I'll tell you why it's surprising. One, Cincinnati Bengals are playing better football than I think anybody expected them to be. The Ravens are about where people thought they might be. Browns are playing 3-1, but I would not call it a great 3-1 football team. A little underachieving, even though they're 3-1. They did not have a great game this past week. I think Mayfield's not played great, but again, 3-1 is 3-1. And the underachieving Pittsburgh Steelers at 1-3 look like an old, tired team. How they're favored on the road this week, I don't know.
Who are they playing?
Let me see. I have that someplace. Hold on, Jeff. I'm sorry. The Steelers are on the road, favored to the Broncos out in Denver.
Teddy Bridgewater's hurt. That's why.
Maybe, but again,
Bridgewater's hurt, and isn't Jerry Jeudy hurt too?
Jerry Jeudy is hurt. Yeah.
So that does two big players.
Maybe. So we'll see. But again, so Jeff, give me your thoughts on the AFC North.
AFC North, I would have to say that listen, the Bengals, they're going to start to come together a little bit. Burrow has an old teammate now.
Yep.
And is comfortable. They have a rapport.
Yep.
So it's going to be a big thing for them. Although we needed some protection, they didn't get that. The Bengals, not the Bengals, the Browns, until they actually do something, it's hard to say. It just seems as though, from what I'm reading and what I see, that Mayfield just isn't together. Just doesn't seem to have it together for a 3-1 team. The Steelers, I know John likes to say about the Steelers how awful they are, but it just seems that it's late. It's late for Roethlisberger.
Yes.
There's no good replacement for him on that roster.
No.
What happens next year if he's a Steeler fan? If he thinks they're bad this year, are they going to be even worse next year? You know?
Again, yeah. I mean, at this point, are you going to go draft a young kid and then try to rebuild? Are you going to try to go get a wily veteran? And is Ryan Fitzpatrick headed to the Steelers next year or somebody of that ilk? To me, there's a team that should have drafted their quarterback 2 years ago, have him on the bench playing behind Ben, and be worked in right now. But right now they don't have a good option in Mason Rudolph behind him. So I think there's a lot of downside to the Steelers. And they may be looking at a couple years of bad football.
Well, it's possible, and I think that division may turn into a three-way fight between the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals. But the Bengals still need some offensive line help. The Browns, until they do it, they have to prove it. I mean, they're still the fucking Browns.
Yep.
And we'll see. We'll see where they bring the team to and what they do.
Surprising. I've been very surprised at the recovery of Joe Burrow. He's played good football, and he showed that he's so far hasn't been a flash in the pan. A lot of guys come up Heisman Trophy winners and national champions, and look at Trevor Lawrence has not looked the part. It's a long way. He's got a long career left. I'm not down it, but he has not come out of the box and said, looking like a solid guy yet. So we'll see. We're getting there with it. Yeah, he does. Absolutely. The last division, Jeff, and then we're going to get to contenders versus contenders or pretenders. The last division right now is the AFC West, which may be right now the best division in football with, some people saying the best team in football at the bottom at 2-2 in the Kansas City Chiefs. And everybody else, Jeff, is 3-1. I think the Broncos are a little overrated at 3-1, but you can't knock the Chargers and the Raiders. This is a solid division right now, and maybe the best division in football.
I would have to say, to me, the best team right now, playing wise, has got to be the San Diego Chargers in that division.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen much of the way of the Kansas City Chiefs this year. I don't know what's actually going on with them.
No defense.
Which is unbelievable.
Yep, no defense.
Teddy Bridgewater is injured with a few other injuries in Denver. So I guess it's what happens. Does he come back? Does he pick up where he left off? I don't know. And then the Raiders. I mean, listen, the Raiders are another team to me that until they actually do it, I have two reasons. One, I don't believe in them. And two,
I agree.
I can't believe in them because of the half man.
Yeah, who, by the way, did not return any messages today, so I do not expect to see the half man tonight, just for the record.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Listen, can we play the video? Is there any way to play the video to Facebook?
I forgot to upload that tonight, and I don't think I can get that together now. It's a little bit of work to get that on the air.
Okay.
I will have that up for Sunday. I will have that ready for Sunday, and then it will be a full-time feature on this show from now on. That video will be on my playlist every Thursday night because you just can't make it up. You just can't possibly make that up.
No. When you think of some of the stuff that the half man has put down on football helmets and jerseys hanging all over the house, and God only knows what else he's doing. Do you think? Can I ask a question?
Sure, you're more than welcome to ask a question.
Right. Now, if the half man, if he was home alone. And he decided that, you know what, I'm going to lay in bed and I'm going to lose all of these constricting clothes. Okay. And he's laying there watching his beloved Raiders buck ass naked.
Oh, boy.
And they end up winning like 35-7.
Yep.
Does the following week, does he follow suit with the same outfit?
Yes. The
Really?
man, yes. I believe if the Raiders got on a streak and that if he was naked in a beanbag chair eating Cheetos, and they did it every week.
He's the same way.
He's naked and sitting on a beanbag chair eating Cheetos. That would be what.
So now, it's Sunday.
Go ahead.
Tommy and Edie invite the lovely half man and his soon-to-be beautiful wife over for dinner.
That would take a lot, but go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying. And then he sits in your beanbag chair. His beanbags on your beanbag chair.
He would be taking the beanbag chair home with him.
And she's sitting next to him, and he's like, I got to make sure this team wins. I'm losing the clothes.
Oof.
What do you do as the owner of this house?
After I burn the beanbag chair, I burn the house down to get rid of the evil spirits because there's no way in the world I could ever enter the house. There would be a monkey smell like in the house. Like you'd walk in and it's like an entity living in the house from that point on. If he was ever naked in my house, it would be like I'd have to have an exorcism. You'd have to come over. We'd have to burn incense on the lawn. Yeah, we'd have to
You got to
sacrifice
start
chicken.
from the perimeter and move your way into the house.
Yeah, you'd have to like sacrifice a chicken. Like they'd be like, there's definitely things that have to happen to ward off the evil spirit. If his beanbags ever made it onto my beanbag, forget it. It'd be over. I'd have to move.
And then if there was any kind of physical contact between him and his girl, that would even make it worse. I would imagine, right?
We can't even go there because I just ate. We can't have any of that. Can't have any of that talk. So that's the run of the division. We're gonna move on because I can't even possibly have that conversation. We're gonna go to a new segment. Then we'll get to Jets and Giants. I want to get to Eddie Van Halen.
And by the way, I say contender that his beanbags touch your beanbag chair.
Yeah, this is a contender. All right, Jeff. I'm gonna give you some teams. Now, there's two ways to do this. We could do contender, pretender for divisions, playoff spots, or are they contenders, pretenders for a Super Bowl? How do you want to go?
Whatever you want to do,
All right,
man.
we're gonna do right now because I think it's too early to do divisions because it's still wide open. I'm gonna tell you, Jeff. At this point, you're gonna look at these teams and you're gonna say, Jeff, is this team a contender to get to the playoffs and make a Super Bowl run, or are they pretenders?
Okay.
And you're gonna tell me what you think. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeff, to me right now, there's two teams in the NFC West. Jeff, are the Arizona Cardinals contenders or pretenders for a run to the Super Bowl?
Right now, at this point in time, I got to say contender.
Okay. Let's move on, Jeff. The Los Angeles Rams, 3-1, had a great game against Tampa. A little bit of a letdown this week against Arizona. Jeff, are the Los Angeles Rams contenders or pretenders?
I got to go with contenders on this one. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine, Jeff. Let's move down to the NFC North. To me, I'm going to give you two teams from this division that I think have some sort of a chance or maybe a little bit of history. Jeff, the Green Bay Packers, are they contenders or pretenders?
Pretenders. I think that Aaron Rodgers, his move backfired. He didn't get the attention he wanted. Nobody made an offer, as far as we know, to try to trade for him.
That's true.
And he wanted to play, and voila, here he is. Okay. So that's all I can say there.
All right, let's. I'm not going to give you another team in that division. Nobody's worthy of it. Jeff, in the NFC South, there's two teams that I think that have a worthy of a conversation. I'll start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jeff, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers contenders or pretenders at the quarter pole?
I got to give him contender right now because somebody has to win the division.
Okay, Jeff, the Carolina Panthers, a surprising 3-1, have played even in their loss to the Dallas Cowboys this week. Have played a really good football. They've been fundamentally good and getting surprisingly good quarterback play from Sam Darnold. Jeff, are the Carolina Panthers pretenders or contenders?
Big time pretenders.
Wow, you're not sold on the Carolina Panthers, huh, Jeff?
No, and I'll tell you why. Okay, I know that they played the Jets. Okay, in one of their first games, if not the first game, I don't remember what game it was. They beat the Jets. Okay, I don't know who they got their other two wins against, but they lost to a possible playoff team in the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay,
who's not exactly the greatest team in the NFC right now, and you lost to them. So I kind of have to think to myself that this isn't one of the better teams happening in the NFC right now, regardless of what they think. And I just don't see this team having what it takes to go to the making a little noise in the playoffs. I just don't see it.
Okay, so right now with this, again, guys, this is our new segment, contenders and pretenders. We'll probably break this out at the halfway point of the season. And this is basically Jeff telling us, is this team a playoff team? And are they going to make any sort of a series run? Could they make a series run? Divisions could be locked up in the next 2 weeks. Who knows at this point? So I'm going to ask Jeff if they're contenders or pretenders. Right now we're getting down to the last NFC division, the East. At this point, I'm only going to bring up the Dallas Cowboys, Jeff. Maybe a surprise, maybe an underachieving. have been better on offense and defense than expected. Jeff, the Cowboys, are they contenders or pretenders?
I think they're contenders, the Cowboys. I know somebody has to win the division. I just find something wrong with every other team in their division. I don't think that Philly has a quarterback. The Washington football team, the Washington Redskins, does not have a quarterback, and evidently a lot of other pieces that they need. And the Giants, I mean, I know that you'll say no and everything else, but they look like a car that was blown up a couple times, and they just duct taped all the pieces back together. And, you know, they're one bump away from falling apart. Daniel Jones loves handing the ball off to the other team. However,
hasn't done it this year. Hasn't done it at all this year.
Saquon Barkley rushes for his 45 to 50 yards a game, and you know he hits 25 yards plus on one carry every game, and then averages like 1.8 the rest of the way through. And I firmly believe trade him now. If you traded Odell Beckham, I see no reason to hold on to Saquon Barkley and not try to get what you can in a trade for him and get some picks. I think they would serve you better.
Without him Sunday, we don't win that game. A 54-yard touchdown pass down the sideline, turned on the Jets, scored a rushing touchdown to win the game. I think he's slowly and surely coming back and getting his legs underneath him. Yeah, listen, he may not be what he needs to be yet, but listen, if you saw the catch and run on Sunday, you look at him and say, there's a guy who you have to account for, and he'll keep playing better and better each week. But we'll get to the Giants and Jets right after this. Let's move over to the AFC, Jeff. The AFC South is our first division. I'm going to give you one team. Maybe I'll give you two teams right now, Jeff. The Tennessee Titans are 2-2. Jeff, are they a contender or a pretender?
I'm going to go overall pretender, but the contender for the title in that division.
Okay, I agree wholeheartedly. Jeff, we'll move over to the AFC East. I'm going to give you Buffalo Bills. Are they a contender or a pretender?
I think that as the season goes on, they're going to turn into a contender. Right now, I think they're playing apprehensive, and they don't realize it. I think everybody's playing a little scared right now at this point in time.
Okay.
I think that they're going to gel and come together as the season goes on. If not, they will be pretenders. If they could overcome a few things and learn how to play together, I think they'll be contenders.
Okay, so we'll move on to the AFC North. Jeff, there's three teams that are top of in the first place in that division, all tied. I'll start with the Cleveland Browns. Jeff, are the Cleveland Browns contenders or pretenders?
Man, I want to say contenders, but there's just part of me that just can't stand 100% behind them. But more often than not, I feel as though that they're a team that's ready to turn the corner and become a serious contender. So I'm going contender.
Okay, Jeff, the Baltimore Ravens 3-1. Again, with a quarterback that hasn't been overachieving this year at all, has not. I consider a team that's not a great team, but they are 3-1. Jeff, the Baltimore Ravens, contender or pretender?
I think that I'm going to go contender. I mean, pretender. I think that they're a one-dimensional team, and they're just not going to be able to do much. With Lamar Jackson, I think people haven't figured out.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, I agree. I think teams are starting to figure that out. Jeff, the surprising 3-1 Cincinnati Bengals. I think your assessment of them earlier on was correct. I think they have some chemistry with their quarterback and this year's number one pick, former teammate Lamar Chase. I do think their offensive line's a little understaffed, and they may have to do something in the offseason. But it's 3-1, playing good football, Jeff. The Cincinnati Bengals, are the contenders or pretenders?
In that division, I would have to say contender.
Okay, so that's again a good division right now. I'm not going to bring up the Steelers. I don't think they're worthy yet.
No.
And then Jeff, the AFC West again, another division. I'll start with the Denver Broncos. 3-1. They had their first three wins to start the season are against teams that were 0-9. Now the Giants have won a game, so maybe looks a little better. But the Denver Broncos are 3-1. Are they a contender or a pretender?
We're going to find out this week. I'm going to put them on pause.
Okay.
Because Bridgewater is not 100%. If they win, I could say pretender. If they lose, I could say contender.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let me
reverse that.
If
Okay.
they win, contender. If they lose, pretender.
I understand that. If you lose if you can win without Bridgewater, that to me shows you a little bit something more. So I agree with you on that. Let's move up to the Las Vegas Raiders, 3-1. I never would have thought that would this way. Derek Carr's playing some good football. They got Nassib and the boys playing pretty good on defense. Chucky, John Gruden seems to have a little bit of magic right now. The Raiders, Jeff, contenders or pretenders?
I'm going pretenders.
Okay. Again, I'm not sold on the Raiders either. I did pick them this week in my survival pool. I have them getting me to the next round. There's only 8 people left. So I took the Raiders this week. We'll get to that Sunday. Jeff, again, the top of the division, 3-1 Los Angeles Chargers have Justin Herbert playing some good football. The defense has been solid. Their one loss to the Cowboys probably shouldn't have been a loss. So I'll say just, Jeff, in a tough division, maybe the second toughest division in football, the Los Angeles Chargers, Jeff, are they contenders or pretenders?
Oh, man. I just watched them the other night. Who did they play this week?
The Raiders. They beat the Raiders on Monday night.
I was watching some of that game, and neither team was moving the ball pretty good. But the Chargers seemed to have a little bit more life in them than the Raiders did. But they were having trouble against the Raiders. So it's kind of hard for me to stand behind them. I still think, as much as I think they're a good team, I still have to go with Kansas City as being the best team in that division.
So you're calling the Raiders, you call them a pretender?
I'm going to call them a pretender for now, but that can change.
Okay. Yeah, listen, we'll be back to this in a few weeks. At every quarter of the season, I'll get to Jeff and I'll ask him where he thinks teams are. It'll start to get there. Eventually, last one of the season will be contender, pretender to make the playoffs and to win a Super Bowl. We'll see how it plays out. But again, that's our contender and pretender, new segment this week I thought of today. So Jeff did a great job, and I don't disagree with much he had to say. So that'll wrap up last Sunday. Again, guys, this weekend, college football. There's some really good games. Let me throw some games at you guys. Make sure you watch. I think the Penn State-Iowa game is a huge football game. That is 4 o'clock on Fox. Iowa is 2.5-point favorites, have a great defense. We're going to see what the Penn State team is made of. I think at this point, it's Alabama, Georgia, and then maybe Penn State, but they need to have a good showing this week, and a win would be huge for them. To solidify, Notre Dame lost last week. A bunch of teams lost. I don't have my notes on who lost right this second in front of me, but let me see. I do have it somewhere. Hold on. I got to talk about college football for just a minute. Notre Dame lost. Where's my college football roundup? I'm missing my college football roundup. Here it is. Okay, so right now Alabama's number 1, Georgia's 2. They have Cincinnati listed 3 here in the post, but I believe in the college polls, Penn State's 3, Cincinnati's 4. I don't think Cincinnati's very good or that good. They're going to reverse that. Iowa's at number 5. This is going to be a big game. Oklahoma's overrated. Ohio State is making a little bit of a run, but they should not be considered. Michigan's got a big game this week against Nebraska, surprisingly playing well. Nebraska team, my favorite team, coming off a big win over Northwestern, dumped Northwestern last week. So again, watch the Penn State game. Alabama and Texas A&M should be a good football game on Sunday night, 8 o'clock. Alabama is easily the best team in the country, best defense with them in Georgia, and a lot of good football this week. Georgia, Auburn. So make sure you check out the college games.
Now, let me ask you something, Tom, that you brought up college football.
Sure.
I've been watching. There's usually a game on every night during the week. I'm sure it's just a repeat from Saturday. So I've been trying to watch some college football. And who is the big team this year? Who's the number 1 draft pick? I know that they were high on that kid. He's like a defensive lineman or whatever the fuck from Oregon.
Yep.
But that was about the only guy that I know of this year. Who's the quarterback for this year?
Well, I mean, listen, there's some quarterbacks playing good football out there. I'll tell you who the Heisman contenders are, and that's usually a decent barometer. I would tell you, Jeff, I don't have anybody that's standing out this year so far for me. Let's see. The kid from Ole Miss, Matt Corral, is okay. Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati. You got a couple kids out there. Bryce Young from Alabama is a good quarterback. Again, not thinking any of these guys. So right now, I'll tell you what, if you had to lock me down, who's number one pick? I think it's still the kid from Oregon. But right now, I'm going to reserve my judgment on who's the best college player right now and who's going to be top 3 picks in the NFL draft. It's a long way off for us.
Time will tell, but I remember last year at this time already having names and who to start looking at, and this year it's rather quiet. So leads me to believe. I wonder if it's going to be a subpar draft.
It's not shaped for me. It's not shaping up yet to be a stellar draft. It's really not, but it's early. And again, then it comes out to, okay, who's at the top of the draft? What do they need? If the Jaguars are number 1, Jeff, are they really drafting a quarterback? So no, they'll be looking for other help, whether it's a big time receiver or a left tackle, so it all depends on what's needed by who's up there. Is it the Jets the top 3 again this year? Who knows? Right now it's the Texans, it's the Jaguars, maybe the Steelers. The way the Steelers are playing football right now, I could easily see the Steelers at the top of the draft. Right now the Patriots, Dolphins, there's a lot of teams. Indianapolis, Houston. So we'll see. But yeah, nobody's standing out in my book yet so far, Jeff.
Yeah, I get it.
Let's get to a little more football, and then we're going to get to a couple of music stories and end the show. So, Jeff, I'm going to give you your option. You want to go Jets? You want to go Giants?
You know what, Tom? I mean, they both played very similar games, both winning in overtime.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. However you want to go, we'll go.
All right,
surprise me.
All right, so let's talk about the Jets a little bit here. So I'm going to give you the Jets had a very nice 27-24 victory in overtime over the Tennessee Titans. I thought the defense was pretty good. The kid for the game, let's see. Wilson was 21 of 34, 297 with a touchdown. I thought he was sharp. I think he looked. I thought he played very well. They ran the ball for, not very well. Jets caught a 13 for 38. So you can't rely on the kid to win games for you. They have to run the football. But a good solid win for the Jets, Jeff. Something to build on at home, gave the fans something to talk about. Is this a sign of things to come? I'm not buying it yet. I agree with you earlier. I thought Tennessee played a very piss poor game, and the Jets took advantage. But the kid threw for 300 yards. He looked like an NFL quarterback for a game.
Well, about time. I mean, he couldn't look any worse for the first couple games of the season.
Yes,
and
agreed.
He needs to step up. He needs to show progress, because if not, this is New York, man. People are going to start talking about your head soon.
Yes,
and you don't need that, because once they're there and they're vocal, that's it. They're not going to care.
It's not easy to get them back on your side after that, Jeff. It's very hard to get them back on your side.
No.
But it's a good win. Now, here's the thing. This is an interesting game. They're going. I'm sure they're already out in London. They're playing. It's a 9:30 a.m. start here in New York. So while we're doing the Sunday morning show, we can have that on the TV, and we'll talk about that a little bit as the game goes on. But this is a game. This is a bad Falcons team who are short a couple players. If the Jets go out there and they poop the bed, this is not a good look for them. They're going to be standalone game. They're going to be, everybody's watching this football game at 9:30 in the morning. If you're out in California, 6:30 in the morning. So this is a big game for the Jets. If you go out there and you get manhandled or you look bad to the Falcons, this is not a good look this would not be a good look for the Jets.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So this is not a must win, Jeff, because it's no such thing at this point in the season for a must win. But I think this is close to a must win for the Jets.
It's very possible, that they are in a must win situation.
Yeah.
You want to try to prolong that momentum that they have, and the Jets. They need whatever help they can get. They need to make it over the bump. They need to make it over that hill, and remain there. When you're sinking, you can't sink. You need to tread water. You need to do whatever it is you can to stay where you are. You can't lose ground.
Yep.
And a lot of times with the Jets, I just don't see them having the horses to stop and to hold tight where they are. I'm surprised that they won the game in overtime.
Yes,
especially with Derrick Henry. It leads me to believe did the Titans call a bad game or something?
Again, they had the opportunity. They were driving down in overtime to kick a game-tying field goal. Obviously, they missed it. You know what? I just don't think they played a very good game. It was almost like they just expected to walk in and run over the Jets, and the Jets lay down, and the Jets put up a fight, and Tennessee just wasn't ready. And Tennessee, listen, they have a bad defense. They have not played well this year, and they've gotten away from the recipe of run the football well and let Tannehill throw the ball from play action. Tannehill this week was, let me see, his passing, 30 of 49, 298. Now, when Tannehill throws the ball 49 times in a game, you can't be successful. They need to run the ball well. Now, Henry had 150-something yards, but it wasn't the same. And I will tell you that, I go back to your statement earlier. I think the Tennessee Titans played a very bad football game, and the Jets took advantage of it. I will not say the Jets went out and won that game, but they did not piss it away, which to me is a very good sign if you're a Jet fan.
Well, yeah, of course. But you know something, Tom? You're starting a rookie quarterback that had no chance of getting a jump on anything in the season because they didn't have any camps like they normally do and close contact games, and they didn't play him in the preseason. So as soon as he stepped on the field, that was his first feel of an NFL game.
Yeah.
Now the kid is going out there. I mean, it's not an excuse. The guy made some horrendous throws and threw touchdown interceptions. He got fucking sacked God knows how many times. I understand the game is different in college, but it's basically the same. You can't get caught back there and lose the yards, man. You got to get ready to throw the ball away, and you got to read those progressions. If you don't, it's going to be a bad year, man.
I agree. So again, I don't count for much for Tennessee. It's a good win by the Jets. I don't care how you play it. After the first 3 weeks, they showed no life whatsoever. Offense was brutal. Just a semi-comatose defense. I'll give the Jets credit. They won a football game at home, gave their fans something to cheer about. And if you're a Jet fan, for at least 1 week, you got something to smile about. This week, again, they're playing a very bad team that's shorthanded in another country. I don't know what I believe this will be a very bad football game. This could be a 17-13 game that's just lifeless and has nothing to it. But we'll see. We'll talk about that on Sunday morning, Jeff. We'll see how that plays out. Let's switch over to the team across town, or across the hall, I should say, and the New York Football Giants. And Taylor, two halves. A mediocre first half for the Giants, a really good second half. But I will tell you this, and I will go to the mattresses. I will fight to the death on this one. Daniel Jones has turned a corner. And I know that you're not going to believe it, but Daniel Jones played a football game. He's played well all year. Since he had the second half of last year, he has minimized. He's got, I think, one interception, and it was on a Hail Mary at the end of the half. I'm not pinning that on him. He ran the ball well. He threw the ball great. He threw for 400 yards and played a really good football game and took the Giants back. And they were down 11 points with 6 minutes left of the game on the road in a very tough place, playing their very first game at home this year after the hurricane. Daniel Jones has turned a corner and is a good football player. Is he going to be an elite quarterback? Is he a franchise quarterback? I don't know yet. But a couple more games and playing consistently like he has, Jeff, this is a good quarterback and a good win for the Giants. You can downplay it, but that's a game you picked the Saints to win. You thought they would win double digits. I remember you saying it. And the Giants were on the road to a place they don't normally win. I did. And, I mean, listen, you are anointing Daniel Jones as the next Tom Brady. I didn't say that. I never said that. I hear the tone in your voice. I didn't say a word. I just said he's turned the corner and is playing good football. He couldn't turn the corner if you put him in a car. Oh, that's fine. And listen, I will tell you that you are in the minority, my friend. You are in the minority. Steering wheel on the right-hand side with the extra brake pedal. You are in the minority. All right, whatever. You are in the minority. The Cowboys are saying nice things about them this week, obviously. NFL people. They're just saying that because
They don't want no locker room material. That's all.
Well, listen, this is a good quarterback with and I'll tell you one thing. Here's what I'll tell you. The surprise for the Giants, and people are you can knock them all you want. This is an offensive line that's gotten better each game. Their left tackle, who you have berated for a year and a half now, has graded out as the 5th best tackle in the league and the number 1 sophomore. You know, with all those guys that got drafted last year, he's the number 1 sophomore tackle in the league by far, having played some very good football this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no wow to it. The offensive line has played really good football. He did not get touched this week. He did not get sacked. He had plenty of time to throw the football. This is a good team that just needs to get consistent with it. Now, listen, they deserve to lose those games. They blew it with a couple bad plays in those games that cost them football games. And this is an important game for the Giants. I'll tell you flat out. They need to go and steal the game on the road. This has got to be a game. This is a game they can win. I don't know if they should win, but they can win it if they play to their potential. And I think this is going to be a good football game. And I'll give you my prediction for it on Sunday morning. But yeah, you can put your hat on all you want. I'm telling you that this is a good team that's playing better and better. I like the way the defense started to play, but I'll say one knock: they did not lay one hand on Jameis Winston this week. Not a sack. They didn't no quarterback hits. This team has got to get to the quarterback better. And that's on Leonard Williams. He got the big contract. You know, he's played great against the run. He's been solid on that team, but they need to put pressure on the quarterback. They got their rookie, Oziza Angelari, has played really well. He had 3 sacks in the first 3 games, but they need to get more pressure on the quarterback. But a good, solid win on the road in a tough place for them to win. And, I'll let you jump in because I know you're shaking your head. And then I want to rip apart your favorite coach, Sean Payton. So go ahead.
He's not my favorite coach, man.
Oh, he's your favorite coach?
No, negative.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
That would be Rob Saleh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a good coach.
Man. The next
Rex Ryan. More like the next Rex Ryan, but okay, go ahead.
Whatever.
Okay, so do you want me to finish with my Saints and Giants take, or you want to jump right in here?
No, I got stuff to say.
Go ahead. It's all yours. I sit back.
First of all, they got to do something about Barkley. They have to do something about Barkley.
I wouldn't do anything about him.
You got it. You have to.
Nope.
You got to do something about the guy. Sucks. He's
not at all. I think the guy's playing very good football. He's not playing great football. He's playing good football.
No. Get rid of him.
Nope.
Get rid of him while you still can. Get rid of Jones while you still can, and get rid of Barkley while you still can.
I was going to trade Jones, no problem. I want 3 number 1 picks.
You're insane. This is why they won't even allow you to have a fantasy football team because you're insane.
3 number 1s. And the guy is a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. It's statistically. I'm not saying if I was picking 5 quarterbacks, he'd be my 5. I'm just saying statistically, he's rated in the top 5. The guy is playing good football. He's rated higher right now than Dak Prescott. That's not saying he's a better quarterback than Dak. I'm just telling you the guy's playing good football right now. So you can adjust your hat all you want. It doesn't matter. Daniel Jones is a solid football player. Saquon Barkley had 2 touchdowns on Sunday. One was a beautiful run for 6 yards and dragged him into a touchdown for the win, and a beautiful 54-yard touchdown on the sideline. And your boy Sean Payton blew the game because he had Taysom Hill runs the ball for 2 touchdowns. Really was made the Giants look terrible. Then decided to let him go out there and throw a pass, and he threw a big pick, changed the momentum of the football game, and got the smirk knocked off his face and kicked in his balls. And I hate Sean Payton with 3 passions, and he's a jerk off. And he lost, and good for him that he lost. How's that?
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. I said what I need to say with the Giants.
Please.
And Daniel Jones was again another NFC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week. 400 yards, couple of touchdown passes. And listen, here's the Giants. They missed their 2 best receivers, or 2 of their best receivers, in Slayton and Shepard are out. And John Ross comes in, first catch of the season, a 52-yard touchdown. Kenny Galladay had a huge day, 6 catches, 100 and some yards.
Oh, God, here we go.
This is a team that's extremely well prepared right now. And big praises out to our general manager, who's put together a solid football team right now. Now they have to go out and play. That's the difference. And I'll say, I said, oh, yeah, I thought they were a talented team. They just didn't play it like it. So I think this
Talented team.
Yeah, of course, it's a very talented team.
I'm betting against them to lose this Sunday.
I'm sure you are, and I'm picking them to win, but that's a whole different thing. We'll see how it plays out, but this is a big game. If the Giants can go down to Jerryland and not steal a game, just win it. This is not the guessing name to steal. This is not a team that is far behind the Cowboys. They are not. They just don't play as well as the Cowboys right now. And but I think they're going to go down there and put on a hell of a game, and I think this is going to be a good football game. And if the Giants go out there and win this game, it's going to change the whole complexion of that division.
Oh, God.
Boom. There it is.
Bad to worse.
Boom. I said it
Bad
out loud. So it's a good football game. We'll get to it on Sunday. We'll break it down. I'm sure Jeff's going to be picking the Cowboys, and I hope he does. He picked the Saints by double digits. Look at how that worked out.
Listen, I'm not making a prediction.
I want you to predict it. I beg you to pick it. I beg you to pick that game. I do. I beg you.
All I can say is that they suck.
No, it's okay. You can say anything you want. Again, Hard Rock and Sports, Jeff and Tom here every Thursday night, 7 to 9:30. We bring you our biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and of course, the wide world of sports. We do it every Thursday night. We've been doing it for 7 years. Hopefully, we'll do it a few more. And we appreciate everybody who was out here tonight helping us out, having some fun. We got a few more minutes to go. I'm going to do a little bit of music stuff. We talked about Black Sabbath earlier on and the possibility of maybe a new Sabbath album. Jeff's pretty excited about that. But, Jeff, I want to go to a little bit of sad news. I gave you some happy news, right?
Yes.
I'm going to give you some sad news now.
Okay.
Now, I would not consider you – I consider you a big Van Halen fan. I would not say you're a huge Van Halen fan, but I would say the classic Van Halen lineup you were a fan of. Would that be a correct analysis of you? Okay. So, again, a band that, we grew up listening to. Now, it has been a year since the passing of Eddie Van Halen. And obviously it's a sad thing. We lost one of the greats, but I'm going to be honest. I love Eddie Van Halen, but let's be honest. Over the last 20 years, what has Eddie Van Halen really put out that we could go, wow, that's classic? Let's be honest. To me, the last classic thing Eddie Van Halen did for me was the solo for the song "Beat It." That's probably the last classic thing.
Oh, I
love the solo. I'm just saying that's a memorable thing. People always talk about it. To me, it's a great solo. I love that solo. But let's be honest, in the last 20 years, Eddie was not Eddie as far as I'm concerned. The music wasn't great they were putting out. There was lack of effort. The concerts, in my opinion, I saw them, wasn't great. Eddie's still the greatest of all time, in my opinion, for what he did.
Seconds.
I'll give you the floor on it, Jeff, but of course it's a huge loss, but let's be honest. Eddie has not been putting out a bad interception for Stafford, giving the Steelers in the end, so giving the Steelers, the Seahawks the ball. Yeah, Jeff.
I think that Dive It Down was the last album that I would have given any kind of attention to. I mean, the Sammy stuff, there was songs here and there, but they weren't, they weren't good enough to rival the older stuff. But I mean, I think that as long as David Lee Roth was in the band, that band was still doing something. Once they started coming out with the synthesizers for what was it, Jump,
1984.
Yeah, that's kind of when they lost me. Dive It Down, 1984. There was still some good songs, but it's like, what is this? Why are you bringing this into albums now? And but you know what? All bands evolve, and you can't say anything if they're evolving, and they still put out some great stuff. But are you going to match Van Halen 1 and 2 throughout their career? It's virtually impossible.
Well, I agree with you, but listen, there was nothing wrong with Women and Children First. I mean, that's a great album. Fair Warning's a really good album. Dive It Down, 1984, they had some good stuff. A little more commercial friendly in those on those albums, but still some classic tunes. But I think once you get to 51, 50 and after, Jeff, I think that's where you lose me. So, going back to what you said, to me, 1984 may be the last, last great thing we heard from Van Halen. And this is not to knock Eddie. I'm not trying to knock Eddie. I'm really, really not. I'm just saying that it's been a long time. So to me, the loss of Eddie, I'm sure for his friends and his family, is huge. To me, I'm always going to, and I say this because I'm always going to remember Eddie for the first 2 albums. Because to me, there was nothing like it. He'll live forever. Those songs I can listen to. I can listen to those albums nonstop. And that's how I'm going to remember Eddie. And this, again, my start of this was not to knock him, certainly not to knock him in the band. It's just to say, to me, the passing of Eddie, I'll always going to remember Eddie the same way, with the Frankenstein guitar, cranking out Eruption, cranking out, those great songs off those first couple albums. And, to me, I remembered when it went, this week. And the first thing I thought of was the first time I listened to them and listening to Running with the Devil. I mean, to me, it makes you the hair on your neck stand up. And now an interception from the Seahawks. The Rams get the ball back. There is no score second quarter. Yeah, Jeff, your thoughts on the passing of Eddie and your feelings on Eddie Van Halen?
Well, it leaves a void in the music world of a modern day guitar god. As long as he was alive, he was capable of possibly going out and writing and creating something that sounded like old Van Halen. And as long as the rest of Van Halen was alive, Alex, Dave, Michael Anthony, and himself, there was always the chance of a possible reunion. But that there now is out the window.
Sure.
Although it was announced that David Lee Roth is going to do his last 5 shows.
Yes.
And Alex Van Halen is going to play those shows with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's see something like that. Okay, yeah.
Which leads me to believe, would Michael Anthony be interested in playing some of those shows?
I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see something like that, Jeff. I think you're almost going to see, maybe the last show, Wolfie shows up and Michael Anthony shows up, and you get different guys. You might see even like, what's his name? Steve Vai. You might see Billy Sheehan. You might see some of those guys from his band show up and play in some of Dave's last songs. And I think it would be solid to do that. If you're Dave, I think you're going to go out and celebrate that way.
You would like to think that something cool is going to happen, but we don't know. No,
but I think it is cool that Alex is doing that. I think that's a really cool thing.
Well, does this mean that Alex is going to pack it in too?
I think so. You know what? And there's no disrespect to Alex Van Halen, but I never thought of Alex Van Halen as a guy who you're going to see show up, like Carmine Appice or Vinny Appice or some of those guys who show up in every other band. I just never got the feeling, after all of these years when Van Halen was down and not making new music, you never saw Alex Van Halen show up someplace and play. I never got the idea that the Van Halen brothers wanted to do anything else but Van Halen, and even then they'd want to do as little of Van Halen as possible.
Oh, listen, I mean, Eddie was the only one that really branched out. Well, that's not true. Eddie branched out and played on Michael Jackson's album when David Lee Roth did his own stuff, his own material for a while. But yeah, you're right. I mean, but Michael Anthony went over to Chickenfoot.
Yeah.
But Alex Van Halen just never did anything else that we know of.
No.
I don't know. You'd have to look it up and see if he recorded any other albums with anybody else. He might have.
Let me tell you right now. Hold on. I'm going to tell you right now. I just switched over. I have nothing. Equipment, musical career. The only recording Alex made outside the band is the instrumental "Respect the Wind," for which the Van Halen brothers were nominated a Grammy Award in featuring Alex on keyboards and Eddie on guitar. The song was written for the 1996 movie Twister and plays during the end credits of the movie. So the only recording Alex made outside of the band was an instrumental with him and Eddie, and Alex played keyboards.
Wow.
So that's to me says a lot right there.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. Yeah.
So I mean, Yeah, I'm not expecting that. And listen, Jeff, I mean, Van Halen, they wrote, obviously, the album 1984 was in 1984. 5150 was 1986. Then it was at 1988 for OU 812. For Unlawful Common Knowledge was 91. Then Balance in 95. Balance, wasn't that with Gary Sharon?
No, Van Halen 3 was with Gary Sharon.
Okay. That was 98. And then there was only one album since 1998. That was 2012's A Different Kind of Truth, which had one good song on it, Tattoo. So, Jeff, from 1988 till the time he passed.
2012?
Yes.
Well, I thought that they were touring in
They were.
They get married. I got married in 2007. 2007, they were touring.
Yes.
They weren't touring on that album?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they were touring off the old stuff still.
Well,
I think that was when
they
Dave
didn't
came
put that
back.
album out till 2012. Then it's kind of hard to tour on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they were touring off the old. I don't think they. I'm looking it up right now. I don't see anything in there. But again, I think
2012.
Yeah. So I mean, that was the again. Let's call it what it was. They did not put out we rip. Hey, listen, you and I rip Metallica all the time for not putting out enough stuff. There's a little bit of ripping here. I think it is almost warranted.
Yeah, almost. But you know something, Tom? You're talking about a different situation. Metallica had the full band for how long?
True.
Whereas these guys were in between singers, and then Eddie was sick for a while. A lot of stuff.
I got you. Agreed. Let me ask you this. Yeah, and again, I'm not here looking to knock Van Halen. It's one of the great bands. In fact, let me ask you this question: is Van Halen the greatest American band of all time?
The greatest
in the hard rock metal world.
Oh, wow. I don't know. That's a tough one, man. That is a tough one. Because you do have.
Well, who else you putting there? You had Aerosmith.
Yeah, well, no, you got Metallica in their prime.
Okay.
Man, you kind of caught me off guard with that one. I mean, as far as American albums, I get American bands, Van Halen, Metallica. Yeah, the rest of them are all fucking from other countries, ain't they?
Yeah, that's the point. So you got the bands that we grew up with, the new albums, the new wave of British heavy metals guys. You got the bands out of Canada like Rush and Triumph, and but if you nail down American bands, you got ZZ Top, ZZ Top, a top band of all time, Aerosmith, Kiss. Who else we putting in that category, Jeff? I mean, the great
not as the greatest hard rock bands, no.
Right. So I'm saying is, obviously you're gonna obviously put the greatest of all times. You're gonna put up there with the Sabbaths and the Zeppelins and Priest and Maiden.
Although I honestly don't think that. Me personally can't see putting Van Halen with bands like that.
Okay, but I'm not putting them in that category. So I'm separating them out and saying out of the hard rock and metal category in the U.S. only, where does Van Halen rank? And who is? See, to me, it's them and Metallica for me. And I'm not a huge Metallica fan, and I'll say that Metallica had a short run of albums that were great, but so did Van Halen. The one thing I give it out of it, and the reason I put them top is because of Eddie. Eddie was an influential, one of the great guitar greats. So I'm going to give them a little bit of a higher nod than Metallica, but that's where it goes as far as American bands. Kiss, I got to put in there because of longevity and what they did for the music industry. There's my top 3-4 I can give you, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Kiss, it's something I would really have to think of. But I mean, Kiss, as far as Kiss goes, are they even still playing their own music when they go out to play at this point in time? Or they?
We saw them. I mean,
lip sync show in the world.
Again, I don't know. I watched that show. You watched that show. We were there. I didn't pick up on too much that I would say didn't sound, but I will just say that if I'll take them for their career, spanning 50-something years, they were at the forefront of that kind of music. They were one of the biggest bands of all time for 5 or 6 years. Kiss has got to be in the conversation. I'm not saying they're the greatest band of all time. I'm not saying there's certainly anything great now, but they got to be in the mix as far as American bands go. So, I mean, but, to me, if you're going to narrow it down, there's probably 3, 4, 5 bands American that you could put in this category. Where you rank them, that's kind of up to you. But now Eddie's gone a year. We're talking about Dave retiring. There's a band that we'll never get to hear again from, and I think it's I think it's sad. And we were talking about today on a little bit.
Keep going. I gotta go to the bathroom again. I'm sorry.
Good. So again, Hard Rock Sports guys, Jeff and Tom. We're going to wrap it up right here after this conversation. Thanks to everybody listening tonight, and make sure you come on back next week. Plenty to get to. And remember, Sunday mornings, the Hard Rock Sports Show turns into the Sunday Audible with our good friend John Marhafka at the lead, with Jeff and I coming in and giving him a hand. And we have some fun every Sunday morning from 9 a.m. on Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you come on there on Sunday mornings. We'll give you our insights and analysis for the day's games. We'll give you best bets. We're going to give you a whole bunch of stuff and break down everything we can see. There's a flag on the play. So make sure you tune into the Sunday Audible on the Sunday Audible Facebook page, 9 a.m. Sunday mornings. And this week, our special guest, beside Rafael Esparza at 10, he's our resident head odds maker at mybookie.ag.com. So he'll give you all the backstories, and we'll talk to him about the odds in the games. We got our first celebrity guest, and that's Sean McKenna. He is the one of the guys over at Boss Tools and Band Talk page, and a tremendous drummer, side hustle, and a great guy and a good football fan and a Giant fan, and he'll help us break down the Giants and the Cowboys. So we're looking forward to seeing and hearing from Sean this Sunday, and stay tuned for more guests. We got some merch coming. John's working on some merch, so stick around on Sundays, but also come back here every Thursday night when Jeff and I get together, and you never know what's going to come out. So welcome to Thursday night. Good football game on the screen. Couple of interceptions, one from each quarterback. I got to tell you, these uniforms for the Seahawks are horrendous. Oh my God, they're worse than the
lime yellow one.
Oh my God, they're the worst. Why anybody would wear those uniforms, boy? I got to tell you, they're worse than They're worse than the Oregon uniforms. My God, they're terrible.
Wow, that bad.
So Jeff, let's end it with the David Lee Roth talk. I know that we've talked about Van Halen, and while of course I will be the first one to tell you, I never thought Dave had a great voice. When I've listened to what I consider their peak or their dominance was the U.S. Festival. Everybody says it was one of the great performances of all time. Van Halen went out there and nailed in a touchdown by the Seahawks. Great catch by DK Metcalf. When you go back and listen to that, Dave does not sing well. He's a iconic front man. I'll put him out there, to say here's a guy who does his thing and knows how to fire up a crowd. But Jeff just not a great singer, just had the look and the sound of a hard rock and roll singer.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. He was never the greatest singer in the world, without a doubt. But he did what he did the best as he could. Who else you going to compare? Maybe Steven Tyler.
Yeah, I would say they're in the tree of Mick Jagger, but yeah, that's a good comparison. But Tyler has obviously a much better voice than Dave did ever. So I'm not a huge Aerosmith fan, but there's no comparison as far as who's a better singer.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree with you. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, listen, I think it's a sad day for me because, again, every time one of those guys, I won't say a hero, but a guy who we grew up listening to, loving his music, again, you said it, nothing better than Van Halen 1 and 2, just classic stuff. Dave sounds great on the albums, obviously, great music. To think that Dave's hanging it up now, I think is a little sad, not unwarranted. Guy has not out there, not doing his thing. If Van Halen's still around, maybe they're doing a couple more tours, and Dave's hanging around there. But to think about Dave playing with a bunch of nobodies in Las Vegas, time to go.
I don't know if he's got his own band or if he's doing a show almost like a variety type show, and you just don't know what the fuck he's gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sad because if he is indeed retiring from doing his own shit, or I mean, does that mean that he's never gonna play again, or
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. He's done. That's what he said. He's done performing. He will not be doing these shows anymore. He will not be going on the road. He will not be doing that stuff. Not to say that you're right. Maybe he does a couple of nights a year in Vegas, or does something special.
That's what I mean. Like, I just can't see him saying, like, we're done here. And I can't. I think that he'll be back at it. I think he misses it after a year or so, and he comes back. I don't know.
It's possible. Here's the difference, though, Jeff. The one thing, like you look at guys like Tony Bennett, and I know it's not hard rock and metal, but here's a guy in his 90s with the onset of Alzheimer's, and he's still singing. The problem is Dave can't sing, and I think Dave knows he can't sing, and I think that's why he knows. Without Eddie, the attraction's not there anymore. Like, really, seriously, I'm curious how many people are going to see Dave in Las Vegas 5 shows. I mean, is he selling out 2,500 seats? Is he selling out 5,000 seats? I don't see it.
I don't know what room where he's even playing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, is it a 500 seat? Is it like going to Atlantic? Does it like going to Atlantic City and there's 50 people in the club and he's doing 5 shows? I don't know what his residency is. There's different places you play, whether you play a hall or you play in the arenas, the conference room. There's different places to go. So I'm curious to see what he's doing. I'm going to take a look and see if I can figure that out for next week. But I can easily see Dave riding off to the sunset. I don't think he has anything left to prove. And to go out there with a no-name band and basically sing the rest of the way, you think about it. Once he couldn't do what he did, the last time I saw him, he was doing like Jimmy Fallon or what's that woman's, the Ellen show, and he was like dancing with these old women on stage in Van Halen songs. And you're like, dude, what happened to Dave? Used to be out there with the sword and swinging the sword and the jump kicks. I said, well, he's out there doing the tango with these women. It really, there's a guy who it's time to go.
Listen, I want you to think of it this way. All right. Sabbath called it a day.
Yes.
All right. Slayer called it a day.
Yep.
Okay. Now, evidently, it's Van Halen's turn, and everybody else in between that have fallen by the wayside.
Yep.
Bands that you really maybe don't want to see play anymore.
Yep.
Live. Van Halen, Priest, Rush is gone. Okay. There's more that are gone.
Oh, absolutely.
Than that is here. Okay.
Yeah,
even
Alex Lifeson came out and said he don't want to tour anymore.
Oh, now you don't want to tour now?
He said he don't want. He said can't see myself ever touring again.
Well, listen, who knows? Somebody like that, maybe he gets in the right band and he's like, this has renewed my interest in this.
Maybe
I want to give it one more go around. Because don't forget, they never got to say goodbye. They just went on a hiatus. They never really got to say goodbye, Rush.
Yeah, it was pretty well known that Neil didn't want it. I think they all held out hope that he would get healthy and then want to do it again. But it was not an official, this is it. We're never coming back. I would agree.
No, and I think that, Dave and Kiss, another one that's on their way out if they're ever allowed to finish. These are bands that, they're going to go and nobody is coming up behind them. I know that's my famous phrase, but you know what? Every single year I used to look at the PNC Art Center and see, okay, there's a couple concerts that I like. Maybe I'll go to this one. Maybe I won't. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, dude, I don't even look. I don't even look to see who's playing because it's like, one, I just don't care.
Yeah.
Throw Soundgarden on the heap. They're never going to play again. Temple of the Dog is never going to play again because of Cornell being gone.
Yeah.
We could just keep throwing names out there of bands that you're just never, ever going to see again.
I agree.
Because somebody's gone, dead, or whatever the case is. And there's a lot of them.
Oh, there's a lot more gone than there is still around. I listen, there's only a few bands at this point I'd want to see. Now, there's a couple of tours that I've heard that you know what, I never saw Def Leppard live. Maybe I want to see Def Leppard. I wouldn't mind seeing Journey. I've always kind of liked Journey a little bit. So there's some bands I'd like to, there's a few bands I'd go to see. There was a couple of good shows coming up before the pandemic that I was toying to go see. So yeah, I'm not opposed, but there hasn't been one yet. Now Maiden's going to come around, Kiss is coming around again. I'm going to go see both those bands. I don't know how many times they're going to keep doing it. Kisses could be the last time I get to see them. So I'm absolutely going to that show. And when Maiden comes around, I might do the tour again. I'll see. But you're right. There's not. I would another guy I'd like to see just to see one time, and I don't think he'll ever be in this way again. It's I haven't seen him come this way in a long time. Is Ted Nugent? I don't know, for some reason, not the biggest fan, but I'd like to see Ted Nugent in concert, see what that looks like.
I don't know if that's if he's even playing at this point.
He is, yeah. He has a new album out. I think he just put out a new album. Yeah, I mean he's doing a lot more stuff on social media. I know there's been talk of some tours. I don't know if he's had anything booked. I've actually toyed with talking. I've been talking to his people about getting him on the show. Can't seem to make it happen. Yeah, I can't seem to make it happen. Every time I think it's a yes, I get a well. He wants it. He'll do it. But right now he's busy with this. I get back a few weeks later. Yeah. Send me some info. I send the info. We're gonna wait a couple more weeks because he's in the middle of, never know. But I haven't gotten a yes yet. So I'm still working on Ted Nugent. I'd love to get that guy on. But again, there's some people, Jeff, I want to see. But to a certain extent, you're right. The retread bands, the ones where 15 different guys get in the band and. They play a half an album and then they move on and they change people. I don't have a lot of interest anymore. I would suggest seeing the Winery Dogs. It's a really good band, with Sheehan and Portnoy and what's his name?
Kotzen.
Yeah, Richie Kotzen. It's a really good band. They have some really good music. That's a band that, if you want to see good music, that's a band to go see. I'd love to go see Cheap Trick. If I had known Paul and his kid were going, I would have actually tried to go. That's a band I'd like to see one time. But again, I'd love to see REO Speedwagon, even though it's just one guy left. I love REO Speedwagon's early shit.
There's only the one guy left in there.
I think so. Yeah, I think I know the guitar player died a few years ago. The bass player has been pretty much long gone. I don't think the drummer's still there. So I think it's just Kevin Cronin is the last of the remnants there. So I was a huge fan. One of the first bands I ever got into completely, 1980. Me and Ronnie Morms spent the summer of 1980 listening to High Infidelity. So a fun band. But again, there's some bands I'd like to see, but I'd like to see Paul McCartney live, one time.
I don't know if he's still jamming out or
he was still up to the pandemic. Like I said, haven't heard anything new yet. But we'll see. Let's see if things still keep going the right way, and next year, this fake pandemic will be over. We'll get.
Listen, man, I hear you, but as far as the pandemic goes, dude, right now the way they're treating it is far from fucking fake. We're still dealing with it every fucking day.
Yep, believe me, I see it every day.
Started with a Republican president, we're into a Democratic president, and nobody is coming closer to saying that we're done with it.
Nope, no, they're making it even worse now. So they're just making. I'm telling you, you can't pee in the city without having vaccinated and cards and masks. And you go to Jersey, it's I go to any restaurant, no mask, sit down and eat like a human being. I go to city, you want to go and order, you got to show me a vaccination card. You got to have a mask on. It's the worst. I hate every second of. Although I went to Juicy Lucy a couple weeks ago, walked in, no mask, no vaccination, so good for them. So I'm hoping that's the same way on Saturday night.
Yeah, until somebody fucking blows the whistle on them, and then the Board of Health is there or something, and then they get closed down for 1,000 years.
Yep. Listen, it is what it is. But listen, it's a sad day. David's gone. David Lee Roth. Listen, not that we were expecting much, but anytime they officially announce that they're done, Jeff, it just takes a little bit out of my childhood, at least, and
of course,
growing up, listening to those albums and trying to play some of them and all that good shit. It's a classic. So again, the anniversary of Eddie, we celebrate one of the greats of all time, if not the greatest of all time, in my opinion. And we salute Dave on the way out the door. We're going to do a little more research, see what kind of rooms he's playing, see who shows up for the shows, and we'll bring it. We'll bring it to each week. But Jeff, we're going to wind this up. I'm going to give you the last word for the show. It's been a good one. A lot of fun on this show. Contenders and pretenders, and lots of football, some baseball, Sabbath. It's a good show.
Yeah, and looking forward to Saturday. I mean, it was like pulling teeth to see where we were going.
Here we go.
Listen.
Here we go.
I need to know that I'm going to come out with the right amount of money.
Listen, just bring a blank check. You'll be fine.
No, don't do that.
Bring the blank check. You'll be fine.
That one the hard way.
Listen, you sell. If you sell the Fender, we'll have no issues. We can go to the Palms for dinner.
We could, but I can't sell the Fender between now and Saturday. That's virtually impossible.
Virtually, but not impossible. In fact, by the way, I've got an amp for sale. I'm not sure which one, if it's the Black Star or the Line 6, but I got 3 amps in my room. I got to get rid of one of them. So if anybody's out there wants to buy an amp, I may end up donating it. I'm not sure yet.
Don't donate it. Don't donate it. Stop the bullshit. Don't donate it.
I might donate it if I can't sell it. So I'm deciding which one I should sell. Which one should I sell, Jeff? Now I've got
I think
what
you should do is take those amps, the Black Star and the Line 6, put them in the car and bring them over to Mode Music and put them in the fucking store and let Panino sell them.
I don't know if I want to sell both those because, I'd like to. I'm almost thinking I should hold on. Now, the Black Star, I could get pretty good money for. That amp right now I looked it up online, is anywhere from $600 to $900, which is where I paid what I paid for. I paid about $6 and change on Craigslist. So that amp could go as high as $900. So I like, the Line 6 is only worth a few $100s, but I like the Line 6. But I don't know if I want another tube amp in the Black Star. So I'm kind of mixed on what I should keep. I'm going to be using obviously the Marshall, but in the house it's very hard to play the Marshall because you can't really crank it.
You got to fucking blast it once in a while, man.
Well, this weekend my wife's working, so Saturday and Sunday morning I have a list of songs that I've been working on for a few months. We do have the Christmas Jam coming up. It's right around the corner, which probably in the next couple of weeks I will start the conversation to pick a day. I truly want it to be at night this year. Kind of last year.
Real quick,
Real
quick. I mean, we'll talk more Saturday. Just looking, what are you looking to do? The week before or after? I mean, being that the holidays start on a Saturday this year.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to do the week before Christmas, I would think.
So what are you looking at? December 19th?
Yeah, unless we're gonna do it on the Sunday. The original one we did was a Sunday night, so I'm almost thinking the day after Christmas, that Sunday night to do it. That's how we did the very first one. And this is the 10-year anniversary of the very first one.
Oh, that's it? They're only 10 years?
10 years we've been doing it. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it seems longer. There was 1 year we didn't do it. I think I got sick and we didn't do it. And I think otherwise, I think we've done it 9 of 10 years. Sounds like Father Bob's coming in this year, so we're going to have Father Bob in.
How about your brother?
No, he will not be in for Christmas for sure. Of course, I'll always invite you. We'll always invite your brother. Make sure, even though this may be the first year he shows up. Last year he was supposed to come, and then the COVID. So I don't know. But as far as drummers, I know Ronnie Morms is definitely in, and we'll invite.
Yeah, he's definitely coming.
Yep, I spoke to Ronnie a couple times. He's obviously it all depends on when it is and all that stuff and how busy he is, but he said that he's going to make an extreme effort to get there and be there again this year.
And what about Drew?
I haven't spoken to him, so we'll put it out there. I would imagine his opportunity to play with Paul and Jimmy would probably get him out. He's been at the last 4 or 5. I would love if you invited that female singer again. I think she came in a little late last year.
Denny?
Yeah, I mean, I'll invite Johnny Collins, but he seems to flake every time I invite him to it. So we'll see. But that's around the corner. But I am working on some songs for this year that I will throw out to the bass players and drummers and see if they're willing to learn and have some fun with it.
Let me know. The only one way I'm going to do it is if I know him. You know what I mean?
I agree 100%. Like I said, I'm probably a week or so away from throwing out the thing. I don't want to do it too early, but I want to get again. I kind of would like to do it the Sunday night between the holidays. That's how we've always done it, in between the 2 holidays. So I think that Sunday after Christmas might be a fun night to do it. Everybody have the Christmas thing. The wives will look to be home relaxing, and we can kind of get together on a Sunday night. If not, then we could do it the week before Christmas and, do it either one of those days. So I'll map it out and we'll have a conversation.
Whatever day you want to do it is fine with me.
Yep. I would love to
down for playing. So
yep, I'd love to do it. I miss getting together with the boys, and I absolutely miss playing. So I would like to. I got some new equipment, and some of the old stuff I need to start selling. Maybe time to start selling some old guitars off and just keep a couple. So we'll see.
Well, how many guitars you got now?
I think it's 6.
What are you going to sell any for?
Well, what am I going to do with 6 guitars?
Play them.
I got 3 in the room now. I got the V is in the closet. I haven't taken that out. I got one my son's got, and I got the acoustic. I mean, I don't know how many guitars I actually need right now.
Well, listen, I mean, I hear you, but why not?
We'll see. But I'm going to sell an amp. If I can't sell it, I'm gonna donate it. I know who I donate it to, but that'll be a last resort if I don't sell it. But yeah, maybe I'll throw one of the amps in the back of the car, drop it at Mr. Panino's, and see if he can get to sell it for me. But we'll
that's what I would do.
Yeah, again, that might happen. I was actually going to reach out to Jimmy and see if he needed an amp, and I'd give it to Jimmy to use, and he can bring it to shows. And in fact, I think that his band's playing at Rosebank Tavern soon.
That I do not know.
Yeah, Radio Days I saw was booked for Rosebank Tavern coming up. So good. I think it's the 16th. But good luck to Jimmy and everybody there. Looking forward to seeing Jimmy. I haven't seen him in a while. But all right, so guys, listen, this is it. We're going to end the show right here. Thank you for checking in this week. Thanks to my dad, everybody online, Facebook saying hello to us and riding along the way. It's been a lot of fun. Me and Jeff, every Thursday night we do this, and we'll do it again next week. I know we got some guests coming up down the line. I'll try to put something else. And again, remember this Sunday morning, Sean McKenna is our first celebrity guest. He's going to be helping us break down the Giant Cowboy game. About 10:20, you get 10 minutes out of Sean. Great guy from Barstools and Bad Talk. And I got some other celebrities coming down the pike for the Sunday morning on the Sunday Morning Audible show with me, Jeff, and John Marhefka. So, Jeff, final word is all you.
Oh, it's about it, man. A productive show as usual.
Yep.
We are our fan base is growing to the point in Israel where
we're close
converting, man. I'm going to take this and put some of this over here on the sides and make some, hold on, let me fix the middle there. Make them little curly curls.
There you go. There you fit right in.
There you
go. Right in. It's a good look for you, my man. It's a good look for you.
You like that?
I am looking forward to a great weekend. I lots of stuff going on in my personal life. It's just starting to calm down a little bit. So just starting to feel good. I got a nice weekend coming up. I'm going to play a lot of music, watch a lot of football. I'm going to get to hang out with my dear friends, the Talwinskis, have a little dinner together, and I appreciate they're making the offer to take me out for my birthday dinner.
It's my pleasure. Believe me, you took me out for my dinner for my birthday, and I was able to give you a restaurant right away where I wanted to go to almost immediately.
Listen to this horse shit.
And, we got to
listen to this horse shit. All right, listen, you can say what you want, but as a friend, I was trying to figure out someplace I'd want to go and save you a long trip. That's all I was trying to do.
No. Listen, when it's your birthday, I don't care. Go wherever you want to go, man.
We're going to go to Juicy Lucy. I'm going to make sure that they are open. 99.9%.
They are open.
Okay, so we're going to go to Juicy Lucy. We're going to have a nice dinner and watch maybe a little football on the screen, and then get home to watch a lot of football at night. My Nebraska Cornhuskers are on at 7:30. Alabama, we got a lot of good football, and it's Sunday Audible, and then a lot of football on Sunday. Great games with the Giants and the Cowboys, and we'll get to that all on Sunday morning. But guys, let's end it here. Jeff, I want you to have a great weekend. I'm going to see you Saturday, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure I'll talk to you off the air about it. And
well, we'll be talking off the air because I got a couple predictions.
Okay.
That will be texting you.
All right. Well, on your predictions, I want you to feel out your friend who's been texting you about the holiday jam and whether we shouldn't bother sending out the invite. No? Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about that.
I'm calling this one now.
You're calling it now?
Nah.
All right. So we'll see. But guys, everybody, thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy the football and the baseball, for that matter. Lots of good baseball on this weekend. And, of course, have a great week, and we'll see you back here on Sunday for the Sunday Audible, and we'll see you back here next Thursday night on the Hard Rock and Sports Show. Thanks. Have a great, great weekend. So for Jeff Tomlinski, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rock and Sports, have a good night, good weekend, and a great week, and we'll see you Thursday. Jeff, talk to you later, pal.
Later, man.
And the broadcast.